Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk on a Victory Tuesday. Here in the capital city, the Kansas City Chiefs are 8-0. And if you want to beat them, you better not give them more chances to beat you, Todd Bowles. Some people got to learn things the hard way.
You know, I know the FBI and the CIA are pretty busy today. I hope that they have at least one squad, one group, one unit that is investigating Todd Bowles for acts against football.
We're going to get into that. 30-24 in overtime, a thriller on Monday night. Really good football game. And it ended like all of them do, or all of them have so far, like all of the Chiefs games have for the last 14 weeks of NFL action. A Chiefs victory. We're here to break it all down today on 580 Sports Talk, on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And on our live video stream, which you can catch on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. You can also watch us on Facebook, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis, gang's all here for this Thursday afternoon. Brendan, staring into your soul if you're watching the live video right now.
I want to make sure you can feel me. I don't want this to just be talking at you. I want you to feel me. Close to you.
All right. Subscribers bound to plummet today on the YouTube channel. But however you're consuming this show today, and whether you are feeling Brendan or not,
analytics are going to be all over the place on the back end of YouTube today.
Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you making us a part of this Tuesday afternoon. We know that today is a big day, significant day in our country. It is election day, and perhaps we are serving as something of a distraction to you if you are tied up in knots about the conclusions of today's elections, statewide and nationally. If so, we're glad you're with us, and we endeavor to help you in that regard.
If I may step briefly on the soapbox, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or anything like that. I promise you 100% I am not going to do that, because I wouldn't want you to do that to me, and I'm not going to do it to you. But I will tell you, I think it is a great privilege for Americans to get to vote whoever you are choosing to vote for.
Amen.
And I today, I wasn't like sobbing at the voting booth, but this is the fourth election I've gotten to vote in. 12, 16, 20, and now 24 presidential election anyway. It's awesome, man. Like it feels like, even as just a normal everyday person, that like, hey, I get to have influence. They work for us.
Yep.
If you remember your civics classes, they work for us. And to have say in that
of buying for the people.
It is a very powerful thing. So I do encourage you to go and vote. Counter to what our pal Clayton on YouTube is saying, I do not hate democracy. I love democracy, in fact. Sometimes not in sports. In our American society, I do love it, though. So I do ask that you go vote. You exercise that right. It's a sense of pride that I take. And Dan's showing off his I voted sticker today.
That's right.
I have mine on my desk as well. I implore you to go and exercise that right today, because it is very special. It's very special to me, and I hope it feels special to you as well.
It is truly a privilege that we have as Americans to get to vote and get our voices heard in the democratic process. So whether you have voted, whether you are making plans to vote, whether you were on the fence and didn't feel like you wanted to, I hope you do take the opportunity today before the polls close and get out and fill out the Scantrons.
Now, I do agree with a tweet I saw earlier today that said, if you vote in a gymnasium, you should be allowed to hoop while you wait. I agree with that, because I voted at a church near my house today, and it was in a big old gym that actually had a sign on it that said Allen Fieldhouse. It was very funny. But we must be talking about different Allens here. It was in a big old gym. They had the hoops out. Roll it out. Let's play.
Yeah, get us
ones and twos. Let's go.
Get us a rack, right? Get us a rack. Let me at least get some jumpers up. Let me at least practice my free throws. Run some layup lines.
Seriously.
Yeah. You talk about bringing people together in the service of the democratic process.
You're telling me and Jim Bob over here aren't allowed to go play pig? Come on. I'm kidding, but I'm also kind of serious.
No, man, it'd be fun. And turn it into a carnival, right? Have like a bounce house outside for the kiddos.
Hey, Polster, over here. Your stripes. Come on. We're a ref.
So again, this is an important day, obviously, in our state, in our country, and perhaps many of you are looking for a distraction from that today. We endeavor to provide that for you for the next 3 hours. There is plenty to get to. On this edition of 580 Sports Talk, the Chiefs are 8-0. DeAndre Hopkins really good. We know that. Chiefs might have a little bit of an issue that we need to talk about on the defensive side. We'll get there as well. Also, Todd Bowles for Gitmo.
Now, I am a single issue voter. Who is sending Todd Bowles to eternal, global, international, universal prison?
Put him in front of the Hague. He didn't even think about going for 2. And then he had the nerve to say after the game, well, it was a little wet. Guess what? You know who has the advantage when it's wet? The offense, because they know where they're going.
This Mahomes fellow, I don't know that I trust him.
We're going to leave it up to a coin flip. They already thought about it. They even paused to think, hey, maybe we should try and beat these guys right now while the getting is good. Nah, man, we'll leave it up to a coin flip. That's cool.
You remember the scene in The Dark Knight Rises where the people, the upper class, the bourgeoisie are on trial, essentially, and all the criminals are sentencing them to either exile or death. And Commissioner Gordon says, if you think we're going out on that ice, you got another thing coming. And the judge, tells him, so death then, by exile. That is me sentencing Todd Bowles for last night. I'm not even upset about the outcome. I'm glad the Chiefs won.
Yeah.
That was one of the best overtime drives you will ever see. Mahomes was perfect. Kareem Hunt
Clinical.
was perfect. And I'm still furious.
And it was inevitable. That's right. That's why you try to win the game in regulation.
You knew. You knew it was coming.
You know who else did? Baker Mayfield. As soon as that coin landed heads, he looked to the heavens and said, I am never seeing the football again.
I thought it was awesome, honestly, when the two quarterbacks both went out for the coin toss. And you could see, even with the helmet on, Baker reached that hand out immediately. Like, there is legit respect. We remember Texas Tech versus Oklahoma 2016. Everyone who was there for that game will always know the respect those two quarterbacks have for each other. I thought that was really cool. I called that out when it happened. And then you see Baker throw his head back like, oh, I know what's going to happen.
I have seen this guy's movies.
I can't get rid of this guy.
Like turning your back on Freddy Krueger, man. You don't do it.
Yep.
Anyhow, lots to chew on from the Chiefs' overtime win over the Buccaneers. We're going to get to it all here in the opening hour of the program. Also, the NFL trade deadline has passed. And if you're a Chiefs fan, I hope you're ready. I hope you're hungry for nothing, because the Chiefs did not make another move today. Doesn't mean they didn't try. The reports are that they were very interested in acquiring Marshawn Lattimore, but that didn't get done. The Commanders are the ones to acquire Lattimore from the Saints, and he is the best player that moves today on a busy NFL trade deadline Tuesday. We'll break down all the moves and talk about, did the Chiefs do enough with the moves that they've already made? Early returns, pretty good on one of them, obviously. We'll discuss the NFL trade deadline as it goes down today. Also has the college hoops to talk about. KU's into the win column. They beat up Howard last night. K-State opens their season tonight. The Wildcats hosting the Privateers of New Orleans. We're going to have that game for you right here on 580 WIBW. Pregame starts when we're done at 6 o'clock. Tip-off from Bramlage at 7. We'll preview that a bit, and we'll get thoughts on all things Jayhawks, hoops, football, and more with Michael Swain of Fog.net for Jayhawk Weekly. He'll join us at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Plus, all the other things you've come to know and love from a Tuesday edition of the show, our 580 Sports Talk headlines, another round of What Is Wrong With You. We'll do some Random Question Tuesday. And your interaction with the program today is, as always, invited and encouraged. Text us. The Top City Metal Supply text line, 785-272-9429 is that number, 785-272-9429. You can also comment if you are watching the show live on YouTube. Again, the channel is 580 Sports Talk. There is a live chat function, and we invite you to jump on in and interact not just with us, but with your fellow listeners. You can also leave us comments on Facebook if you are indeed watching on Facebook. Again, the page is WIBW News. Winners win, and the Chiefs are winners. And they are 8-0, despite another effort that was not flawless. Another game where the Chiefs lost the turnover battle. A game in which the defense, counter to what it has done most of the year, was not able to make the stop to end the game. Kind of kept waiting for that to happen in the 2-minute drill. Like, oh, the Chiefs are going to get a sack. No, wait a minute. Their pass rushers look kind of gassed.
Mm-hmm.
And Baker's dialed in. All these rando wide receivers we were making fun of on yesterday's show are balling out. I said Ryan Miller wasn't a real person. Ryan Miller caught the game-tying touchdown. Half egg on my face. But we talked about it on the reaction show last night on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Chiefs Instant Reaction, which if you missed that, you can watch that on our YouTube channel. Last night felt like the Buccaneers played up to the Chiefs level in a way that I was really impressed with. I thought they had clever play calling. Liam Cohen called a really good game. They executed their offensive game plan really well. They've got dudes on their defense, and all of them played great. Like Vita Vea, Levante David, and Antoine Winfield Jr. are like three of the greatest players in the history of that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Those are champions. Those are Super Bowl champion players, and all of them leveled up in a big moment with a big opportunity in prime time to go knock off the two-time defending champs in their backyard. The Chiefs took a real punch from the Buccaneers last night, and they had to punch back. And you saw what it looks like when the Chiefs, with their backs against the wall in the second half, had to punch back. And they put together two of their very best drives of the season to tie the game at 17, to take the lead at 24-17. It all adds up to what I thought was just a really good football game. And the Chiefs were challenged by a team with a really good offense and with some standout talent on defense that finally played to the level that the names on that defense would suggest. And they came through it winners because they do the little things. They respond when their backs are against the wall. And yeah, sometimes they are a little lucky. Like sometimes the coin lands heads and not tails. But you need all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
You need the toughness. You need the championship medal. And yeah, you need the good fortune. And the Chiefs got all of those things, and they're 8-0. Simple game.
I thought it was just a really good football game. I mean, there were moments for both teams that were not good, but it's a 60-minute game. There's a lot that happens over the course of 4 quarters. I thought it was a really entertaining game, and a lot of it transpired kind of the way we expected it to. Mahomes played really well against that secondary, which is not especially stout. The running game was what we thought it would be. They ran as a team for 3.5 yards a carry, but Xavier Worthy having a nightmare game affected that. You take out Xavier Worthy's 2 carries for -10 yards in the game, and the Chiefs would have carried the ball 33 times for 134 yards, which would be, if my math is correct here, just over 4 yards a carry. Kareem Hunt, right at about 4 yards a carry. That's what you expected there. The wide receiver play. Hey, Travis Kelce doing the things we talked about him doing after last week. He did even more of them, and look what he did. He just kept moving the change. Weird to see him only getting 7.1 yards a catch. That's bizarre and going to be hard to get used to, but he was productive. Moved the sticks a whole bunch. DeAndre Hopkins, another week in the offense and making more plays and being able to see the different level this offense can go to when you add a different kind of receiver. Wow, fascinating. I can't believe that could happen. Oh, wait a minute. I completely believe that could happen. This was just a really good game. I thought both defenses had their moments. You had the star players for both teams having their moments. I think it's a good game, man. Like, I don't even know that there's a lot. Well, what did we learn about either of these teams? Well, we learned the Chiefs are good. Oh, we already knew that. And we learned that the Bucs have some really good players who, in the right circumstances, can all make for a great team. Like, the Bucs last night didn't play like a 4-4, now 4-5 team. I mean, that played like a 6-3 team.
They rose to the occasion and played as well as they had to play to take a Chiefs team that played pretty damn well themselves to overtime. Like, I didn't think last night was, I mean, we've seen the Chiefs win some games this year with efforts you'd call like C+ efforts. It wasn't that last night. And there were some mistakes that were costly. Most of them involved Xavier Worthy. He cost them 11 points in the first half or the first quarter with just 2 bad plays. And that was costly. Travis Kelce's fumble was costly. It wasn't the cleanest game the Chiefs ever played, but like offensively, barring those mistakes, it was as good as Mahomes has played all season. He's now throwing more touchdowns than interceptions. We can put that talking point to bed. It was as good as the receivers as a group have looked all season because DeAndre Hopkins, as it turns out, great player, can still be great. And you mentioned Kelce and his effectiveness and his reliability, always there when you need him. And if this is what the Chiefs need him to be, chain mover. They don't need him to be 12 yards a carry, dominant, target number 1, focal point of the passing game. If he's just chain mover now, I think that's fine. I
agree.
I think that's totally fine. If that's what he's capable of being, he'll be the best at it. He'll be the best chain mover in the league if that's what the Chiefs need him to be. And
And you don't need him to be the big play guy because you've got that now. And he wears 8 and has sick dreads. Seriously, DeAndre Hopkins is awesome, man. Like,
so
he's exactly what this team needed down the field.
That over-the-shoulder catch he made on that deep ball that set up the Chiefs' first touchdown. There's a lot to unpack there, but it was a sign that everything that we've been saying for the last 2 weeks is true, that there's just not been a guy like this for Patrick Mahomes to throw to, because Mahomes stepped into that deep ball under some serious pressure and threw it up, even though he knew there was a deep defender back and 2 defenders chasing, because he thought DeAndre Hopkins could get it. And you know who he's not throwing that ball to? MVS. He's not throwing that ball to Justin Watson.
No.
He I don't know that he throws that ball to Tyreek Hill, because like Tyreek Hill's super fast, but he wasn't the go up and beat a guy one-on-one. He could adjust to the ball in the air extremely well. Like, I'm not trying to denigrate Tyreek Hill. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's an all-time great receiver, but he's a different kind of receiver.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins is, I trust one-on-one that Hopkins is going to come down with this, or no one is. That's a level of trust that Mahomes has never had with a wide receiver in his career, because he's never had a wide receiver like that one. Even at this stage in his career, even in a diminished form of the all-pro version of DeAndre Hopkins, there's never been a wide receiver like that wearing a Chiefs uniform while Patrick Mahomes has been a quarterback. And I think you saw it all last night. Like, Mahomes got sacked 4 times. And we give credit to Vita Vea, who played great, Kalijah Kancey, who played really, really well. They won that matchup against the Chiefs' interior line in the first half. The Chiefs swung it back the other way in the second half, started running the ball. But those sacks were a product of Mahomes being patient and waiting for things to develop downfield, because now he trusts that things are going to break open downfield. And that element of the passing attack being reintroduced makes this offense really scary.
No, it is. And I think it should make you excited about when other pieces are able to get back. And I don't know what the timeline looks like for Hollywood Brown. Maybe it's start of the playoffs. Maybe it's a couple games in the regular season. It's impossible to know at the moment. But when he's back, how is that going to change things? When you get Juju back in a week or two and he's out there on the field, and as a more limited player at this stage of his career due to all the injuries, what more is he able to do? That's really exciting. It should be exciting for this Chiefs team, and you can mix it all up. You don't have to keep doing the exact same thing. You can mix up the offense. You can call different things. You can go deeper in the playbook. You can just say, hey, go get it. Go climb the ladder and go get it. The Chiefs have never had a guy, like you said, Dan. It is so exciting that they've got that guy in DeAndre Hopkins right now. I was really impressed last night. I think all things considered, I was very impressed. And look, I understand that, man, it had to go to overtime to beat this Bucs team that's now under 500. One, the Buccaneers are better than their record, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
The injuries have really hurt them, obviously, on the offensive side, but that's a better team than I think their record indicates. Honestly, the fact that they just played the Falcons twice and Kirk Cousins played like the best quarterback of all time in those 2 games is the difference in them being a playoff team right now and not. It's really hard to win in the NFL. Like, really hard. And if you win by double figures in the NFL, you generally speaking crush the team, unless it's, a return touchdown is you hit zeros on the clock to extend the lead, some kind of bad beat like that. Otherwise, it is hard. That's why we say you don't apologize for wins. And in a game like this, if you say a team that's fighting for the playoffs in the Bucs that clearly had something to play for emotionally, and they came out with a great game plan, I think you could argue, and I think it was Seth Keiser put this even on Twitter last night, friend of the program. This felt like the first game where an opposing offensive coordinator was a step ahead of Spags for the first time, certainly all year, really in the last 2 years plus. Credit to Liam Cohen. Like, he's paid too.
Yeah.
That's a good offensive coordinator. Baker Mayfield is a good NFL quarterback. They've got other guys who are getting paid whose livelihoods are on the line. It was just a good game. Sometimes you can just say, you know what? Sick. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a really entertaining football game.
It was a fun primetime game. How often do people complain, God, the primetime schedule sucks? Well, this was sick. This was awesome.
Yeah, I bet the Sunday night was a dog's breakfast. We got a good one on Monday night.
I also want to get to this because I know it is all over social media, because the most obnoxious people before they got into politics today, they were talking about the game last night. the Chiefs are so lucky. There's this guy, I only know him from his complaints on Twitter. He's a Bengals content guy. I believe he goes by Zim online. I don't think he's a Bengals fan. I think he's a Chiefs hater because he just tweets during every Chiefs game about, oh, look, here come the flags. It's not about the number. It's about the timing. You can see the way they're making this work. Kurt Benkert, dumbest person to ever set foot on an NFL field, which is really saying something, of course, had some doofus take last night about, oh, not throwing the flag on the false start on Juwan Taylor, obviously rigged. Do you guys, have hobbies? I know Kurt Benkert's married. I know he has a kid. Don't you want to go spend time with your daughter? Don't you and your wife have something you'd like to do? Go be a family man. Get off of Twitter and stop with the conspiracy theories. Stop with the luck crap. Jayhawk on YouTube put this really well. They've been lucky so many times it can't be considered luck any longer. Absolutely true. 100%. Oh, this is so... I used to say it about Brady all the time. I was not alone in that. This is the luckiest bleeper of all time. Yeah, when you get lucky for 20 years in a row, maybe it's more than luck.
It's the residue of design, Branch Rickey would say.
Yeah.
That's
it's just frustrating. There are plenty of things you can complain about. You don't like how, Patrick Mahomes does the little, I'm going to slow down before I go to bounce, even get the late hit thing. I think that's, again, an annoying complaint, but fine. Whatever. You don't like Travis Kelce because of catching Kelce a decade ago. Fine. Whatever. But can we stop with they're so lucky the refs are rigging it crap? Dog, it's Kansas City. Okay.
Do you believe that the NFL and these officials are competent enough to organize a full wide scale scheme to rig the league in favor of the team in one of its smallest media markets? Are you insane? Some of the stuff that people type on the internet, I want them to read it out loud to their parents or just say it out loud in person to someone and see how that someone reacts. The internet's not a real place, man. Read that out loud to a normal person and you're going to get a pat on the head and, hey, how's that weather we're having? You're going to trip over themselves to change the subject because you sound like a moron. You sound like you don't know what you're talking about. You sound insane. It was a great game. Chiefs win it. They're 8-0. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with some more thoughts on the Chiefs win, including Todd Bowles. We're coming for Todd Bowles.
Jail now.
Also, one thing didn't love about the Chiefs' performance last night. Well, not as Xavier Worthy. We mentioned that. One other thing I didn't really love about the Chiefs' performance last night. We're just getting started on this Victory Tuesday edition of 580 Sports Talk. 3:32 on 580 Sports Talk. We're just getting underway on this Victory Tuesday. Dan, Brendan, Spencer hanging out with you. Thanks for hanging out with us. So I'll start with the thing I didn't like about the Chiefs win last night, and it will segue into saying what we need to say about Todd Bowles.
I have an arrest warrant drafted.
So the Buccaneers had, like we talked about, I thought they had a pretty good offensive game plan, and the way that they made it work in the passing game was number one, and you hit this nail on the head on the show yesterday, Brendan, get Cade Otton rolling, and he had 7 catches and a touchdown and beat Justin Reed pretty bad on the touchdown catch that put the Buccaneers ahead early in the third quarter. That was I thought Reed played a good game. He had a really bad series.
Yeah, he had a near pick, right?
He almost had a pick. I think that was the first drive of the game. I thought he played well overall, but that series where he tried to plaster Raheem Jarrett, and Jarrett just bounced off of him and picked up extra yards, and then he was a beaten man on the touchdown. So that was a bad series for Justin Reed. But those things happen. Sometimes you have bad series. Sometimes you get got. Pros get other pros. It happens. But the other part of the passing attack for the Buccaneers was, hey, find number 22, find Trent McDuffie, and find the other dude at corner and go at that dude, because that dude's not as good as Trent McDuffie. And it was not a good night for Joshua Williams. It's not a good night for Brian Cook in coverage. It was not a good night for Chris Roland Wallace in coverage. There were a lot of easy third down connections. We talked about yesterday how this felt like a game where when you blitz, you got to trust your guys one-on-one on the back end. Like if you're blitzing, that's just what you do. You play man coverage on the back end of a blitz, and you trust your guys to win one-on-one, your defensive backs. And you can maybe trust them more against a wide receiver core that's down to the bare bones like the Buccaneers was.
Mm-hmm.
But that ended up not really being the case. Chris Roland Wallace and Joshua Williams. I don't know what's happened with Joshua Williams. He's been a good football player. He has not played well the last 2 weeks since the Jalen Watson injury.
Yeah.
And I do wonder how much of a concern that is. It's not enough of one for Brett Veach to have overpaid for Marshawn Lattimore, or to have outbid anyway Washington for Marshawn Lattimore in the trade sweepstakes today at the deadline. But I do wonder how much of concern that is moving forward, that teams are just going to ignore McDuffie's half of the field and just go after Roland Wallace or Williams.
So it does seem like Jalen Watson will be back at some point. He pushed back on Twitter today on not really a report, just a take that he was done for the season. So if he can get back at some point, that would be great. And hopefully he can reacclimate as quickly as possible. I do think this is a concern for the defense. I don't necessarily blame the Chiefs for not sending a third rounder to New Orleans in order to get Marshawn Lattimore. And I don't know how many other corners were actually on the market in the first place. If you follow the NFL insiders on social media, the Rappaports, the Schefters, the Rossinis, all of them, none of them really indicated a lot of cornerbacks or even secondary players in general who would have been available. Trey White got traded today essentially for free. Trey White and a 7th for a future 7th from the Rams to the Ravens. Is Trey White making this team any better? No, he's not. I like Trey White. I think he's a good dude. I think at his peak, he was one of the best corners in the NFL.
Agreed.
It's over. It's never been more over for Trey White. His legs are just shot from all the catastrophic injuries. It's amazing he's even come back. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. So I just don't know that there were many other guys out there who could help you fix it. I would not be opposed to seeing a much higher snap count for Chris Roland Wallace, though, because I do think the Chiefs are in a position where we're at a juncture of the year and you have enough that you're playing for that I want to know as soon as possible who is CB2. And as Jalen Watson went active, he is currently in absentia. So you've got to figure out quickly who is that guy going to end up being.
So a thing that helps is that 2 of your next 3 games are against Bo Nix and Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And that's helpful. Unfortunately, the one sandwich in between there is against Josh Allen, which is maybe not ideal. But you get to ease them in, I guess, a little bit. You get to find out which one of those guys is going to really seize the reins. And I would still long-term say I have some belief in Joshua Williams, but it has not been a good start to the 2024 season for him. And it was a big part of the reason why the Chiefs defense, which we've become so accustomed to seeing them close games, especially over the start of this season. We've seen it over and over again, good coverage. Well, we saw it on the drive with about 3 minutes left where it looked like the Chiefs got the sack, like a team meeting at the quarterback, led by Drew Tranquill. And then Shamari Connor makes the play in coverage on the 3rd and long. and Chiefs get the ball back, but they were unable to put the game away with their 4-minute offense, which we've seen them do before. So Baker and the offense for the Buccaneers got another opportunity with just over 2 minutes left. I think they had 2 of their timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, and they diced up the Chiefs, and then they moved it down the field. The Chiefs pass rush was tired. They'd been on the field a lot in the second half. You could tell that they were a little bit gassed during that drive. And with 27 seconds left, the Buccaneers score, and that offense got off the field so fast. You would have thought it was the first quarter of a preseason game. Never a thought given to the idea that, hey, maybe we ought to beat them right now. Because if you kick the extra point, your best case scenario is overtime. Your best case scenario involves a scenario where you don't ever see the ball again. And that was something that Todd Bowles was willing to live with, and that's why his team lost.
This is something that we need to eradicate from football.
Todd Bowles?
Well, yes. I would like to say, first of all, I was right. I've always been right about Todd Bowles. I was right from the start. I was right when he was with the Jets. I was right when he was picked to replace Bruce Arians in Tampa. I have always been right about Todd Bowles. And you know what? It feels freaking great. Okay.
The thing I like best about Todd Bowles is that he is always making the same facial expression. He has one facial expression.
Yes. I bet if you're a Buccaneers fan, it's like when you have a baby, like you can tell what a different cry is. Like, oh, that's his hungry cry. That's his I have to go to the bathroom cry. With Todd Bowles, it's, oh, that is his I know I just screwed up face. That is his oh, I'm happy face. There's like one eyebrow that's slightly cocked. That's the entire difference there. No, he's a doofus head coach, and we need to get rid of the well, I'm going to trust my defense here. I know he's a defensive coordinator. I know guys like that are more prone to trust the defense. But if you are not going to use all of the evidence in the world that the game is going to favor offense, and especially favor an offense that has Patrick Mahomes, then you don't belong on the sideline. Seriously, like if I was a Bucs fan, I would be livid. I saw one tweet from Jenna Lane, who covers the Buccaneers for ESPN. And I think she does fine work. I also think, and you know, if you follow a number of different teams, you know, some teams' reporters are more inclined to speak of their team positively, and some are true neutral observers. And she posted last night and has since deleted. I'm in the minority, but I agree with Todd on this. I think it was a smart idea to, you know, take another chance with the offense, you know, have a chance to put a full drive together, whatever. Patrick Mahomes is on the other team. Have you not watched a game in 7 years? Every time it fails. Every time.
No, it's never worked.
Every time it fails. It's just such dumb football. And when people talk about analytics and they use the analytics boogeyman, analytics is just data. And if you don't want to use data, use it's just past experience informing current decisions. It's the Arrested Development meme. It never works for those people, but it might just work for us.
So
why would it work for you? What makes you think it's going to work for you?
These were the drives that the Chiefs had in the competitive portion of the football game. Their opening drive, they had a punt because Xavier Worthy forgot how wide the field of play was and that you had to get 2 feet in bounds to make a catch in the NFL. Second drive, scoring drive. Third drive was a touchdown drive. Fourth drive, Chiefs were cooking, and then Kelsey fumbled, which is something he has done a little bit more often in recent years, but like broadly rarely does. Then they had the 3 and out to start the third quarter. Touchdown. The 3 and out on the 2-minute drill, the 4-minute offense where they were trying to run the ball and couldn't do it. And then the drive at the very end, the desperation drive. So like real drives where the Chiefs like primary goal was to score. There were 7 of those drives. The Chiefs scored on 4 of them and made their own mistakes that cost them 2 of those drives. What evidence did you really have if you were the Buccaneers that your defense was going to be anything more than a bug on Mahomes' windshield?
And the other part of it too, die with your boots on, man. Oh, well, we might not get it. And then the odds of winning are essentially nil because we'll need an onside kick. Yeah, or you get it and win. Like, give it a shot. Baker was on fire.
The pass rush had no juice in that series.
None at all. You've got Kate Otten, who, again, I guess is good. Sterling Shepard is just always open. Sterling Shepard running an 8-yard out is untouchable for that Buccaneers offense, just like it was at Oklahoma. Like, use them. Trust Liam Cohen, who called a great game. I get it because I know who Todd Bowles is, and of course Todd Bowles is going to do this. But in terms of logic and trying to win a football game, you could not have handled it any worse. And if I was a Buccaneers fan, I would push him off the plank of the pirate ship at Raymond James Stadium.
You get the outcome you deserve.
Yes, you do.
And look, everybody knew that outcome was coming.
That's the other thing about all the clowns. Oh, Jawan Taylor false started. Where's the flag? NFL rigged. What are you doing, ref? No, Todd Bowles he should get 2 losses for this game. You throw out all of the excuses you can make about refs or Chiefs luck or anything when Todd Bowles tanks his team like that. Ridiculous.
We're taking a break.
I'm pissed off.
on behalf of a team you don't even like.
No, I don't care about them at all. I'm glad the Chiefs won.
Yes, I am glad the Buccaneers lost, but like it was like it'd be one thing if like Baker Mayfield had looked toward the sideline and been like, hey, let's go for 2. Let's go get this. Let's do this, coach. Come on. Send out a play. Let's get these guys. Let's kick them while they're down. Let's go try and win this game. It'd be one thing if that were the case. No, man, it never occurred to any of them that might happen. It was instantaneous. Yep, going for 1. We like our chances on the coin flip. We like our chances with the coin flip and Patrick Mahomes on the other team. You should not like your chances if that's what you're dealing with.
Nope.
No, you should not. Anyhow, we're going to take a break. We got more sports talk coming up after this. A text from the Top City Metal Supply text line for the 785 suggests the Chiefs weren't paying off the refs last night. They just paid off Todd Bowles.
He's more willing to accept a bribe than show canceled. We'll interrupt this program.
We'll get back into the Chiefs in just a second. First, little random question Tuesday. It is election day in America. Did you ever know anyone who ran for public office, no matter how large or small? Did you ever know anybody who ran for a public office?
My best friend's mom.
Oh,
she ran for Park. I don't know if it was Park District Commissioner or chief or something, but yeah, she ran for one or two jobs in our hometown. I voted for her.
She won?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little something about my buddy Evan. Everybody in our hometown knows his parents. Everybody. Every single person. Oh, you live near the so-and-sos. Yes, I do. Yep. Oh, you must know Karen. Yep. Yes, I do. Everybody in our hometown knew that family. So she won in a landslide, as far as I'm aware.
Spencer, you thought this question was funny.
Yes.
Did Spencer run for office?
No, I'm going to do it because it's been long enough, and I will go on the air. My last place of employment, my former boss, the one that couldn't even lay me off, he ran for office, but he ran against nobody. So does that really count? He automatically won. Literally, he automatically won today as well.
Did you write in somebody against him?
No, I didn't even vote for him. I lived in his district too, and I never voted for that man.
That is wild. Those people that run unopposed.
Congrats.
I mean,
I had a bunch of them.
It's not wild to run unopposed. Like somebody has to fill the office, but if you run and there's no one running against you, what do you do? Do you just kind of I'm going to win, whatever?
I mean, you don't really have to spend any campaign funds.
Have you ever heard of
true?
But also, this man owned a radio TV station, so he never really had to anyway.
Yeah, he would have had to offer his opponent equal time. If
Yeah.
he went on the air.
Have you ever heard of Dixville Notch?
Yes.
In
New Hampshire. Yes.
Little
the
enclave
first reporting, whatever you call them, voting
precinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little town enclave in northern New Hampshire.
They report at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time every election day. Yeah.
6 people voted, and today they split half and half.
They split their votes.
Former President Trump and Vice President Harris. Yeah, pretty incredible. It's kind of a fun little thing.
My answer to the question, my late uncle, my dad's sister's husband, was for a time the mayor of Woodland Park, Colorado.
Nice.
So
very cool.
Yeah.
My random question for you today: what is a song that you know all the lyrics to for a strange reason?
What is a song that for a strange reason?
I really like this song. I learned all the words to it. But what is a song that you came to know all the words to for a non-traditional reason? I'll give you my example.
Sure.
So I heard while I was driving around today, Broken by Seether featuring Amy Lee of Evanescence.
Okay.
Who?
You've never heard of Seether?
No.
Oh my. South Africa's finest alternative rock group of the mid-aughts?
Yeah. They had a whole song in Afrikaans on their second album.
Oh, no.
I don't recall.
Remedy, great track. Great workout track. Anyway.
Fine Again was on Madden 03.
I heard that song today. I know all the words to that song because when I was 12 years old, I remember finding a YouTube video featuring all sorts of wrestlers who died before they were 40, and it was set to Broken by Seether featuring Amy Lee. And I know all the words still to this day, every single word of that song because of that YouTube video about the Ultimate Warrior, or not Warrior, he was, or Earthquake, or all these wrestlers who died.
Do you have an answer to that question?
No.
My answer to that question is Throw Some D's by Rich Boy and Polo to Dawn, because it's a good song.
But that's a traditional method.
I think Polo to Dawn's second verse should be taught in schools.
I'm thinking of, I worked at a horse ranch one summer and they played this song about horses every day, and now I know all the words.
So something like that where I would hear it all the time.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Or there's a moment that really is seared in your brain.
Any popular rap song from 2016 until 2018 because I was in a fraternity.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew you were in a fraternity.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that either. Which one?
Sigma Tau Gamma.
Okay, we did not have that one at DePaul University, so I can't make any generalizations about you because you're in a fraternity because I don't know that one.
Can I get my random question very quickly?
Yes,
please, because I know we got to hit the break soon. Has anyone ever tried to subtly get something free and now you're getting 28 pounds of something for free? Because I drank a Rain energy drink one morning. I was hosting the early morning agriculture roundup and I decided to put it on social media and at Rain Energy. And now I'm getting 2 boxes that apparently each are 28 pounds from Rain Energy, brother, which is owned by Monster Energy, and they're coming tomorrow. So has anybody ever gotten anything free but didn't realize how much you were about to get for free?
Ooh.
Yeah. Hand sanitizer during COVID.
That's a good answer.
That's some big ass boxes.
That's a really good answer. No, I don't think so. I don't have that kind of clout.
One day.
I wish I
keep
did.
hosting this show one day.
Yeah. Apparently I do.
Chiefs game balls. Next, 580 Sports Talk. All right, let's give out some game balls for the Chiefs' overtime victory over the Buccaneers last night on Monday Night Football. I'll start. I said George Karlaftis was my big Chief, and he was awesome. He was really impactful in last night's game, had a sack. He now leads the team with 4 on the season. He continues to play really, really well. He's starting to get to the point where it's almost cheating to pick him because you know he's going to bring it every week. You know he's going to be effective every single week.
He's such a stud. My game ball goes to, not my big Chief, no great didn't do jack. DeAndre Hopkins
Literally.
did, though. 8 catches, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game. He was phenomenal. Opens up a whole new level for this Chiefs offense. Awesome to see him really thrive.
Did you see he did the touchdown dance from Remember
the Titans dance?
That was great.
That was pretty funny.
Also, he had 1 touchdown in 6 games with the Titans. He's got 2 in 2 games.
Awesome.
Really, like 1.5.
What a difference a QB makes.
Yes. My game ball goes to my big Chief pick, Travis Kelce, 14 catches, 100 yards. Kind of got close there to a touchdown, but got over 100.
So
I believe he is the oldest player in NFL history to have a 14 reception game.
You are correct.
I think he's got over 50 now on the season.
I think that's right. Yeah. Was it Toby Keith? Not as good as he once was, but as good once as he ever was. That was Travis Kelce last night.
Country music insider Dan Lucero.
Yeah.
By the way,
country music knower Dan Lucero.
D-Hop today also put out a picture on Twitter of Randy Moss hugging Tom Brady, and that's either to say he and Mahomes are that new pairing, the new version of it, or they're going undefeated.
Yeah, one or the other.
Bold.
Coming up in the next hour, Jayhawk Weekly with Michael Swain and a look at the NFL trade deadline plus what is wrong with you. Hang with us, 580 Sports Talk. hour number 2 on 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday afternoon. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis, three-man weave for you this afternoon. Great to be with you on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream. You can catch us on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. You can also watch us on Facebook, WIBW News. However you're tuning in, thanks for being here. We welcome your interaction with the show. I want you to react to us, and you can do that on the Top City Metal Supply text line. 785-272-9429 is the number, 785-272-9429. No more wasting money on metal pieces that leave you with unnecessary leftovers. Top City Metal Supply will cut exact lengths of aluminum, steel, and stainless steel, tailored to your project's specifications. Start optimizing your budget with Top City Metal Supply on South Topeka Boulevard, just north of Forbes Field. Again, the Top City Metal Supply text line, 785-272-9429. A welcome to our YouTube viewers who have jumped in on the live chat. Again, you can interact with us, interact with your fellow listeners if you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Clayton says you did good on the ag report this morning, Spencer.
Which one?
The
whole thing?
Didn't specify.
Spencer, I heard you on the ag report this morning. Kick-ass job.
Oh,
Flex
wow.
emoji.
Thanks.
Good job.
Clayton also says if Spencer's over here getting a bag from an energy drink company, and by a bag we mean like a couple of pallets of free samples, Clayton says I need a sponsorship from Lids and Brendan needs one from Wrangler.
I'm actually a Levi's guy.
Well, also,
I wear exclusively Levi's.
Brendan doesn't get to wear Levi's that often anymore, unfortunately.
Wearing slacks to work these days.
Dockers. Get you a Dockers sponsorship.
Garbage. I might as well be in jail. I have my cell next to Todd Bowles.
You can always go home, put on your chill jeans, and have a good time.
Hey, he just looks forward to Fridays, I think.
Oh, yeah. Abby started laughing about that the other day. I guess I didn't remember this, but she was texting with a friend of mine about how weird it is that I wear jeans all the time. It's not weird. They're comfortable. And they apparently had a rip-roaring, rootin'-tootin' good time joking about when I would come home from work wearing my nice jeans and I would change into my house jeans.
Wait, what? You have two sets of jeans.
We made Jake LeBon cry on the radio.
Actually cried on the radio.
Cry laughing.
Was that his last show?
No,
it was really close.
Yeah,
to the end,
it was. I think it happened in November or December of last year. Yeah, we had.
He had known for a long time that I wear jeans at home. I relax.
What got
in jeans.
him was me pointing out to you or to him that means you're in denim for like 18 out of 24 hours of the day because you don't go to bed.
No, I'm up late and sit at home, kick your feet up, watch a game.
19 hours in a denim prison of your own making.
Watch some Pac-12 after dark wearing a pair of jeans.
So you're the guy who, if you were in my place on Thursday, you would be wearing jeans Thursday.
I'd wear
You'd wear jeans in a 9-hour plus bus trip.
Yes. Without question. I would only pack jeans.
No.
I only own 2 pairs of athletic pants. I gave away. They're not even like true sweatpants, like the gray sweatpants that, dudes like for specific reasons. I don't own anything like that. I own 2 pairs of athletic pants. I, in fact, gave one to Goodwill recently. So I'm down to 2. Denim all the time. Denim.
I had a pair of gray sweatpants that I still miss.
Do you know that commercial?
No.
There's like some Target commercial where they backpacks.
That's funny. No, I wear jeans all the time. I just chill in jeans. I'm gonna go home.
Not.
I'm gonna roll in. I'm gonna say hello to my wife. I'm going to say, hey, how was your day? Don't worry, I'm listening. And I'll ask her to speak louder as I walk into our bedroom to take off my work pants and to put on a pair of jeans. Probably not going to rock skinny jeans at home, though.
No,
I'll wear more
those aren't chill.
jeans.
Nothing chill about skinny jeans.
No.
Skinny jeans, you're trying to be presentable.
I mean,
at home,
I just
want to
put the
chill.
athletic shorts on.
Nope. Jeans. Denim. Every time.
See,
honey, you want to slip into something more comfortable? Oh, yeah, I got some 34, 33s over here.
Wait, that's your... Nah, man.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. See, the jeans I wear, I buy these Lee jeans. They're extreme motion. And so, like,
those slap. I love those.
No, they're a good fit. They're comfortable. And, like, I feel it would be wrong to wear extreme motion jeans while I am in no motion whatsoever. It'd be a waste of the jeans, to be honest with you. Like, I could chill and relax and max in those jeans, but I do not. I go and get a pair of joggers.
I don't like joggers. I'm anti-jogger. Why are you clamping my ankle?
Clayton's advice is for me to get some Jinkos. Now, I was never a Jinko guy. I never owned a pair of Jinko jeans. But like, it was the style in the late 90s and the early 2000s to wear clothes that were very loose fitting. And I embraced it. Like, I really did. I had jeans that almost looked like parachute pants, and everything I wore was a size too big. I looked like an extra in a Dipset video. Like, you'll look at pictures of me wearing jeans and like a Reggie Bush Saints jersey and a hat of a completely different team. Yeah, I did. It was it looked like I was about to do a cipher on Rhapsody the Basement.
Yeah,
those were my stylistic choices as a 17-year-old.
Jinkos predated my era of fashion slightly. I probably wouldn't rock them. I like what I like. I have a fit that I like. You say, hey, Brendan, here's a pair of Levi's relaxed fit 501 jeans. I'll say, what do you want for them? You can have everything in my wallet.
This is where I guess we put out another call, because like the time we talked about it last year, there were people that rushed to your defense and said, actually, I wear jeans around the house too. Any more, you psychopaths, reveal yourselves. 785-272-9429 on the text line. If you're rocking the denim at all hours of the day, reveal yourself. We got to know.
Comfy.
Let Brendan know you're on his team.
I need a new pair of jorts is what I need. My pair is in dire straits. The zipper's kind of failing, so it just sort of slides open.
Because they were produced when those were still in fashion, which was 2007.
Well, no, mine are cut off.
Yeah, I was about to say, cutoffs the way to go. If you ever have jorts, you go cutoffs.
All right, because nobody's mass-produced jorts since the
exactly.
Unless W's second term, I think. Was the last
when John
time we saw
Cena was wearing them at WWE.
Oh man, pricey. Here we go. Oh, those are for women. Where are the men's? Here we go. Oh, Kohl's. Kohl's has never steered me wrong once my entire life.
No, I love Kohl's.
That's facts. We're on Team Kohl's.
All of us are.
Kohl's, hit our line.
Give us a radio NIL deal.
580 Kohl's talk. It could be one call away.
No, that's a fact. Yeah, I have a couple of older pairs, though, that are starting to, fade a little bit at the knees. I need a new pair of cutoffs. Those are hot. Oof.
When we were... Quick aside about the Kohl's thing. When we were watching that series Quarterback on Netflix last year, where they had Mahomes was featured and Marcus Mariota was featured and Kirk Cousins was featured.
Yeah.
As you got to know more about Kirk Cousins, like you saw that, yes, his outfits, his wife chose from him, and all that stuff is from Kohl's. And also it followed him to like Barnes and Noble, and he was just like shopping one day. And my wife was watching it with me and turned to me and said, wow, Kirk Cousins is a lot like you, Dan. He likes Kohl's and Barnes and Noble. I said, yeah, and here at Topeka, I don't have to go far. I can park my car once and go to both of them. It's great. Kirk Cousins wishes he was living that nice.
Gosh.
The NFL trade deadline was today. Kirk Cousins did not get traded. Neither did those other two guys. But a bunch of other players did. It was a very busy trade deadline. We talked to Matt Verderame about this yesterday on the show and thought that it was going to be pretty active. There were no bombshells, though. The players that moved were, generally speaking, players we expected to move from teams that we expected to move players. There wasn't a team who was a surprise buyer or a team that was a surprise seller necessarily. The big name was Marshawn Lattimore. There was a lot of smoke around the Kansas City Chiefs being a team that had interest in Lattimore, but ultimately they did not get it over the line. The Washington Commanders did, acquiring the two-time Pro Bowler for a 3rd and 4th round pick in 2025, and also a 6th round pick that they had previously acquired in a trade. And Washington gets a 2025 5th round pick in return. So Lattimore and a 5th for a 3rd, a 4th, and a previously acquired 6th. It feels like a pretty reasonable price, but I also understand why the Chiefs didn't want to trade multiple draft picks necessarily.
Yeah, I get it. It would have been nice to add a player like that, but I get it. You don't want to move day 2 draft capital for a guy who may not be a perfect fit, may take time to acclimate. You trust the guys you have. They've been in the system. You bank on Joshua Williams returning to his form from last season and the year before. I understand it. I would have understood either way, frankly. Third's probably a little bit rich, but I mean, on the other hand, it makes sense, I think, for Washington because you're going for it. And this is new territory. You probably are in a position, if you're that franchise, where you are less, less reliant on we've done this before, we trust our system, because Spencer, as you can attest to, they haven't.
Yeah.
It's not the same in a place like that. So you can take the bigger swing and say, look, let's go for it. Let's put all of our chips on the table, push them in. Let's go for it. The Chiefs, I think, are more inclined, and rightfully so, to say, let's trust the process and trust the pieces we have.
Look, the deciding factor in this trade was the pick that the Saints owned until they got Ridgeway from the Commanders at the cut down day, and they got that pick back. And the 4th and the 5th is essentially a pick swap because they're going to be so close together. And the 3rd was essentially them trading away Jahan Dotson. It wasn't that pick, but it's their pick in the 3rd round, which is going to be higher or going to be back further than the pick that they acquired.
And that was
because it was
flexibility.
a Dolphins pick.
And like you said, that was flexibility the Commanders had in that trade that maybe the Chiefs didn't. Although the Chiefs, again, have 2 third-round picks in 2025. They got the one for L'Jarius Sneed from Tennessee, which looks like it's going to be a pretty good 3rd-round pick, as it turns out. That looks like it'd be a top 100 pick easily.
It also would have been nice for the Chiefs to have a corner under contract through 2026.
Yeah, and that might be the biggest reason that the Chiefs couldn't make it work is they were going to have the Saints eat more financially. There just wasn't going to be a way to financially make it work unless you were sending back a bunch of picks. Like the Saints, I'm sure the Saints would have been willing to say, yeah, we'll eat a bunch of dead money, but you got to send us some really good picks. And at the end of the day, I understand that she's not being willing to meet the price. Gosh, it's fun to imagine, right? That Lattimore on the other side of Trent McDuffie, that's really fun to imagine. But I don't feel like this one is, the Chiefs stopped short and they shouldn't have. Like, I understand why the Chiefs had a line and the Saints had a line, and neither side could really come together to make that happen.
Here's the other question you ask. When's Jalen Watson back?
That's true.
Like, if Jalen Watson's back in week 14, it makes even more sense. If he's out for the year, okay, that's a little iffier. So
right.
I think that's part of the equation too.
And I mean, the Chiefs know, right? Like
better than us.
Yeah, they certainly know better than us if they're going to have Jalen Watson back at any point. And even if they just have him back for the postseason, like even if they just have him back in January, like they're expecting to get Isaiah Pacheco back here at the end of this month, and maybe Hollywood Brown by the end of December. Like, yeah, if they get Jalen Watson back for the playoffs, that's fine. That's when they need him. And hopefully by then, Williams could have maybe rounded into some form, or Roland Wallace with more playing time, maybe performs better. Like, that's not out of the question. The way the Chiefs have developed and coached up their defensive backs over time, that maybe this wasn't a move they felt like they could handle it in-house. And that's why Marshawn Lattimore is not a Chief today. He is a Commander instead. I don't want to get Spencer started, but it's an amazing 180 that franchise has done in a 2-year span.
I mean, less than.
Just over a year.
Yeah.
Since the summer of 2020.
I tweeted this earlier.
23.
Everything bad ever said about Daniel Snyder is not far enough.
Yes.
No one has ever been fairly harsh on Daniel Snyder.
Because it's not just, they're playing well this year, they got a good record, and there's like the looming scepter of they got a meddlesome owner who's also a bad guy, and it will go wrong because something always finds a way to go wrong. No, it feels fresh, and it feels new, and it feels optimistic and good. Like, the more good teams there are, the better it is for the NFL. The more franchises with real hope there are, the better it is for the NFL.
It just irks me that he still got to walk away with billions of dollars.
Yeah, the sad reality is rich people never really lose.
There's no justice.
Rich people never really
he is
suffer any
literally
consequences.
still, I guess, has the last laugh on his yacht somewhere in Europe.
Other trades that were made today, the Detroit Lions went and got themselves a pass rusher. Zadarius Smith from the Browns. They received him in exchange for a 2025 fifth. There's also a pick swap in 2026. Zadarius Smith has been a very good player for a long time. He is not Aiden Hutchinson, but he is a pass rush presence that the Lions, I think, needed. And best team in the NFC got better with that move, no doubt.
They did. Zadarius Smith is a fascinating player. I can't think of another, maybe Brandon Marshall Brandon Marshall would be mine. And Stephon Diggs is on this pathway. Guys who left the team or left multiple teams, all of whom disliked him on the way out the door. Like, I don't think anyone in Green Bay misses him one bit. I don't think anybody in Baltimore does. I don't think anybody in Minnesota does. And I would be shocked if anyone in Cleveland's like, oh, man, we really miss Darius Smith, which is unfortunate because he is a really, really good player, has been for his entire career. He just leaves a very sour taste in people's mouths. 12.7% pressure rate on the year. It's not spectacular, but it's fine. It's playable. And that's what the Lions are looking for. They're looking for some help off the edge. Their strength now, as we talked about yesterday, I think is in the middle of their line with DJ Reader and with Aleem McNeil. So you had just a little bit of extra help off the edge. That'll go a long way for that team. Plus, now he gets to play against Minnesota and Green Bay again this year, which I know will have him fired up.
So he was not the only Smith that got moved today. Both of the Za'Darius and Preston Smith being on the same team has meant that I will always confuse them now until the end of time. Preston Smith, one of two players that made his way to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a trade today. Preston Smith from the Packers to the Steelers. Also, the Steelers acquiring Mike Williams from the Jets in exchange for a 5th-round pick. I think those are both quality depth additions for a Steelers team that still is in command. I mean, as wide as it's kept, as much as we go gaga over the Ravens, they are chasing the Steelers right now in the AFC North.
Yeah, I think both of those are good moves. With Mike Williams, you gave up a 5th for him. It kind of a flyer there. I mean, healthy Mike Williams is still a difference maker. You just don't get healthy Mike Williams all that often. So
No.
I think it makes sense, though. He's a good deep ball threat. And what does Russell Wilson do better than almost anybody in the league still to this day?
Throw that deep ball.
Yeah, he
Throw the
does.
deep ball. So I think that one makes some sense. Preston Smith for a 7th rounder from Green Bay. I have nothing but good things to say about Preston Smith. He has always been a pro's pro, real professional, great attitude, a workhorse. He has missed one game in his entire career.
He gets the old revenge, non-revenge game because nobody was there when he plays Washington this Sunday.
Yeah, he started his career in Washington. He and Za'Darius Smith signed with Green Bay the same offseason, played together for several years. Lots of the Smiths memes in Green Bay Twitter land. And
The
now they get
Commanders
traded.
never gave him a second contract.
Yeah, they get traded on the same day. But good player. He saw his snap count decrease over the last 4 weeks. He's just slower. 31-year-old edge rusher who has a lot of miles on his body. I wish
He's
him
still got
nothing but the best.
2 years left on his deal, too.
I
think, unless they redid it.
He does. The Packers restructured. I will tell you this. Functionally, he has 3 months left on his deal. He ain't playing on that contract going forward. He certainly wasn't in Green Bay. That's why they wanted to move him.
Paul points out in the YouTube live chat that Mike Williams is a Chiefs killer. And
That's true.
Christmas Day, Chiefs Steelers. He always has his best games. Mike Williams against the Chiefs is Jerry Rice.
That's very weird.
Mike Williams against everybody else is like he's Mike Williams. The Jets paid $6.6 million to Mike Williams, got 12 catches and 166 yards. And probably a dozen, as many mean muggings from Aaron Rodgers as catches for Mike Williams. He's got to feel he's got to feel like Andy Dufresne Shawshank.
We all knew when there was that botch a few weeks ago in prime time where Rodgers was talking about how his guy ran to the wrong spot and all that. We all knew it was over for him in New York. I think everyone who follows football knew that at this point. By the way, in his career against Kansas City, Mike Williams only 3-8, so he loses all the time against Kansas City, but he also averages over 10 yards per target and nearly 63 yards a game. He puts up some big numbers. 7 touchdowns. That's more than he has against any other team. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan.
No, you go ahead.
His second highest number is 3 against the Broncos. He has 7 against the Chiefs in 11 games.
That is wild. Some other fringy moves today. Khalil Herbert, former Kansas Jayhawk, goes from the Bears to the Bengals for a 7th-round pick. Bengals need a running back with Zach Moss probably out for the season, and they add Herbert, who's had some success in the NFL. That's a good depth addition for them in the backfield.
Yeah, he's a usable player. Nobody loves fringe roster former KU guys more than the Bengals.
Well, they got Adeniji,
who's actually with Cleveland now, but he was with them.
Right.
Started a Super Bowl for them. He was a 6th-round pick.
That's right.
Now Khalil Herbert. Kwame Lassiter's, I don't know if he's still on the practice squad. He was for a couple years. And that's also where Puka Williams ended up.
That's right.
Yeah. Love those dudes. I don't know what the connection is.
Not KU, but K-State. Wyatt
Hubert
was a Bengal as well. They must really scout the Sunflower State.
And let's also not forget that Jeff Long interviewed Lou Anarumo for the KU head coaching job.
Yeah, he did. A sham interview before he gave it to his buddy Les Miles. Trey White, we talked about this one a little earlier. Tre'Davious White's going to the Ravens. They add a defensive back. The Ravens like to add, like they had OBJ last year, like guys who are pretty well past their primes. That describes Trey White. He should help their secondary, but only but so much. More famous than good at this stage of his career.
His body's just shot.
We saved the most baffling move for last. The Dallas Cowboys acquired Jonathan Mingo from the Carolina Panthers today in exchange for a 4th-round pick. Jonathan Mingo has, 12 receptions this year? 12 receptions this year for 121 yards. And he went for a 4th-round pick.
That's highway robbery by the Panthers.
Now, it does bear noting, let's be fair to General Manager Jerry Jones, that he also got a 7th-round pick out of the deal. But Jonathan Mingo went for a 4th-round pick. DeAndre Hopkins went for a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It also doesn't make sense that the Panthers got more for Jonathan Mingo than they did for Deontay Johnson. I don't understand that at all. You get longevity with Mingo because you have the rest of this year plus 2 more years. I mean, this is a test year for them. They're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what their record is. They're not doing anything this year, playoffs or not, with Cooper Rush playing most of the rest of the year at quarterback. So you kind of get a test out year with him. You have him for 2 more years under contract. I don't think he's very good. Sometimes when you bet on those crazy athletic, high upside guys, it works. Sometimes it's Jonathan Mingo.
More often than not, it's Jonathan Mingo.
More often than not.
The breakdown from Ben Solak at ESPN, he says, it's not an exaggeration to say the Cowboys traded for the worst Panthers receiver available. Yep. Like of all their guys.
I don't understand what Jerry Jones is doing. He is trying to build a roster of one truly elite wide receiver and then the biggest bums he can find.
It's all about staying in the headlines.
Old Brandon Cooks. Kevontae Turpin is a kick returner. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm the Cowboys, he is not a wide receiver. He is a kick returner because he's really bad as a receiver. And now maybe 2nd-round bust Jonathan Mingo. I mean, that's a terrible group. Joe in the 580 Sports Talk YouTube comments, 580 Sports Talks where you can find us on YouTube. LOL for the Cowboys. Yeah, it's just a terrible roster. It is. It's a badly managed team.
It's embarrassing, frankly.
Did you ever watch the show Big Mouth on Netflix?
Yes.
There's the punchline. You're picturing it, and now we're talking about it. And that's the guiding influence of the Dallas Cowboys under late stage in life Jerry Jones. We're picturing them, and now we're talking about them. We shouldn't be. They're buns, and they're cooked without Dak Prescott. But here we are talking about them anyway on trade deadline day in the National Football League. Chiefs didn't make any moves today, but they got DeAndre Hopkins and Joshua Uche earlier. They came out of the trade deadline not only just fine, they came out of it better than any other team in the NFL did, even without making a move today. That's pretty good. We'll take a break, come back with What Is Wrong With You. Michael Swain's going to join us in about 10 minutes for the Jayhawk Weekly segment. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. It is time for another round of What Is Wrong With You here on 580 Sports Talk. Two new stories competing today. Our reigning champion, the gung-ho grandson. There were some hooligans afoot in Stockton, California, running across some old guy's lawn. Instead of calling the police, who were, as it turns out, already on the case, old guy called his grandson, who armed himself with an AR-15, ended up shooting at the deputies. Not at the bad guys, the good guys.
Dumb.
Thought he was the bad guy. He thought he was the good guy with a gun. It just about killed the real good guys with guns. Anyhow, two new stories today. I'm going to go first. We're going to Boston. The Boston area. We meet 38-year-old Rebecca Fatinelli, and she is being charged with one count of illegally importing merchandise contrary to law, one count of selling or dispensing a counterfeit drug, and one count of selling or dispensing a counterfeit device. Why? Well, Fatinelli, who owns Skin Beauty Med Spa, is accused of earning nearly $1 million by injecting clients with counterfeit Botox and fillers. These are Fed charges, by the way. She has been purchasing counterfeit Botox, Sculptra, and Juvederm from China and Brazil since 2021 and has injected those counterfeit ingredients at over 2,700 appointments in that span of time. A former employee told federal prosecutors that Fatinelli purchased the Botox from Chinese-owned online marketplace Alibaba. That's right.
God.
The same place you can buy your knockoff Isaiah Pacheco jerseys, where he's number 10 on the front, number 01 on the back.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. I own a multitude of jerseys from AliExpress, and they are better quality than anything you can get from Fanatics. I'll just tell you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Fanatics is so trash now.
My Sharif Abdur-Rahim Vancouver Grizzlies jersey is fresh. Okay?
I'm not going to say I've never gone the .ru route to order some counterfeit jerseys. I got a sick PK Subban Montreal Canadiens jersey I might break out one day.
Nice.
But, nah, man, you can't be buying Botox from Alibaba. $50 a vial for fake Botox.
God.
Oh my geez.
An authentic vial is around $650. The importing charge carries a sentence of up to 20 years in prison. The other two charges carry sentences of up to 10 years in prison. Buy fake Botox. Yeah, let me get 30 vials of the fake Botox. And do you think I could also get a Geno Smith Seahawks jersey, and on the sleeve, the Seahawks logo has boobs for some reason?
Oh, my gosh.
So that's one story today. Spencer, what's our other story?
Yeah, we're going to go to the great state of Florida. Deputies chasing a Spring Hill man caught their suspect when he smacked into a telephone pole while running away from a car filled with drugs, according to Henrico County Sheriff's Office. When
I think that's Hernando.
Yeah, it's going to be Hernando. You put a couple of extra syllables in there.
When Scott Sherwarian.
Sure. Scott. Just call him Scott. Scott and Heidi.
Scott and Heidi, 39 and 36, were pulled over by deputies in an area in Spring Hill nearly 2 weeks ago. Detectives said they saw a rolled cigar containing a green leafy substance they identified as marijuana. The HCSO said they also found a pill box with the word Xanax written on it that had 11 Xanax pills, 2 separate baggies with fentanyl residue inside. Deputies removed him from the driver's seat and an unidentified passenger from the passenger seat. Deputies say the backseat passenger, who was later identified as Reynolds, refused to provide detectives with her name, identification, or exit the vehicle. After several trying to get her out voluntarily, she was escorted out with handcuffs. While searching the car, they found 3 syringes filled with a clear liquid that tested positive for methamphetamine. They also found a black container with 4 more marijuana cigarettes, a blue pack, and a locked brown safe were found inside the vehicle, according to HCSO. When they tried to arrest Scott, they say he ran away, but he didn't get far. He ran into a telephone pole and was immediately detained.
That's tough.
After getting a search warrant for the safe on October 25th, they found multiple used syringes, new plastic baggies, cut straws, more residuals. He was charged with resisting an officer with violence, possession of methamphetamine, possession of fentanyl, possession of Xanax, and possession of marijuana. His bond was set at $27,000. Reynolds was arrested on multiple charges of trafficking meth, possession of marijuana, possession of paraphernalia, and resisting an officer.
All right, we got to pick a winner quick here. Who wins?
That's a great story. I love the slapstick element of Spencer's story, but you cannot buy Botox on Alibaba. You can't do it, man.
There was Xanax written on the box, though.
Yeah, that's very
It's
funny.
just like
your story,
drugs, like a bag of drugs.
Your story is very funny. Fake Botox is also very funny. Does it beat the grandson with the AR-15 on the golf cart?
Honestly, yes. I think I'm voting yes.
Yes.
All right. There you have it. Bogus Boston Botox. That's what Vance called it in the YouTube chat. That's our winner on What Is Wrong With You. Michael Swain joins us next for Jayhawk Weekly. Michael Swain of Fog.net joins us for Jayhawk Weekly every Tuesday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk of the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Michael covers Kansas athletics for the 24/7 Sports Network. Become a VIP subscriber today. Why don't you? Also give Michael a follow on Twitter at mswain247. We get to lead off with some hoops, Michael. KU's 1-0. They thwacked Howard last night.
Natty.
What was most impressive to you about the season opening win for the Jayhawks?
Man, I did a post-game video last night. I watched it back and realized how many times I said different. And that's the only thing that I can't get it out of my head right now, is just how different this team looks. Especially when you compare it to last year, when arguably KU had its least deep team in as long as I can remember. And now all of a sudden you look at this team yesterday, and who comes off the bench first? It's the Summit League Player of the Year from last year. It's a second team All Big Ten wing. It's a 5-star freshman. Like, it's just insane when you look at the depth that KU has right now. And obviously depth is real fun in theory. It's real fun against Howard, but can you have that depth translate to bigger teams like North Carolina, Michigan State, or any number of really good teams KU's going to play, over the next 2 months? And that's the question. But for a season opener, right, how many times have you watched these games and thought, ooh, like the guys look like they're thinking, they look like they need game time together. Like, this is a group that I think on night one looked very cohesive. And I think that's really encouraging because, look, KU's going to lose some games in non-conference play. That's just going to happen. But this team, to have the type of non-conference season it can have, where maybe they do go on a long winning streak, you got to hit the ground running. And I think it's really encouraging for KU that they did that.
I want to start with Flory Badunga, who had 10 and 5 off the bench last night. When I was at the game, the Washburn game, watched him in that game, my thought was, this is a little bit like Ernest Uday, where like the paws are so big on this puppy. Like, he's going to be able to be impactful in some ways, but obviously it's a little unrefined. It's a little raw. I think that might not have been as charitable as it needed to be to Flory. Do you feel like he's got maybe more of a chance to be impactful than some of the other kind of young, kind of raw big men that KU has had as backup bigs in recent years? I'm talking like early career Udoka, early career McCormick, early career, freshman year Uday. Can Badunga maybe be a little different than that?
I think a little bit, because his game isn't so reliant on post moves. Like, if you think back to Doak, right, he wasn't really refined in the post. He really had the big body, but like, he wasn't, explosive athletically. Like, he really grew over time, where he became a good post-up guy. He really developed into a great athlete by the time he's done. What Flory has going for him is he's just an S-tier athlete. Like, he is an incredible athlete, and that's going to help you in any setting, because there are going to be games when he's going to go up against thicker, bigger centers. And those are going to be tough matchups for him, especially in the post. What he has over those players is incredible length and incredible athleticism. So let's say he has moved off of his spot down low. Well, he's still got that quick twitch athleticism to block a shot. And so I think for him, so much of this is going to come down to how quickly can he adapt to the physicality that, high major, top of college basketball, right? What it takes to be there. And how quickly can he kind of find his niche role? Because I think Bill Self made a great point post-game. Some of those plays he made last night are not going to work against Carolina on Friday night. And I think for Flory, figuring out, hey, what can I do against Carolina? And what do I need to do to make sure I'm in those positions? That's going to be his adaptation process this year. And so for him, I think just the fact that he is so athletic, right, that's going to be such a huge asset to him, because it's going to make up for a couple times when he's, maybe a shuffle out of position. Well, he's got the jumping reach to be able to make up for that. So I think for him this year, I think he's going to be a very, very good backup 5 behind Hunter. He's not going to play 18 minutes a game. I think he's going to be in about 10 to 12, and in those 10, 12 minutes, he'll be really impactful. Or he's going to have the opportunity to be very impactful in those minutes. And so for him, over the next couple of weeks, I'm really going to watch for how he is dealing with the physicality of playing some bigger and tougher players.
Michael Swain is our guest. He covers the Kansas Jayhawks for Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. He joins us every single week at this time for Jayhawk Weekly via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Make sure you follow him on Twitter as well, at mswain247. AJ Storr, Michael, has not looked especially comfortable through 2 exhibition games and now the opener against Howard either. We know that he is a gifted offensive player, but if you want to play for Bill Self, you got to play some defense and you got to rebound or at least put in the effort. What is the concern for you with AJ Storr? I know you've written a little bit about this over at fog.net. Is it that it's going to take time for him to get in the right mindset and get acclimated, or is the concern maybe he won't get acclimated at any point?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that my concern level right now is how long will it take? If we are sitting here in December, or maybe let's say right after Christmas, and we're still talking about, man, AJ is just not being active on the glass. He's not guarding it as soundly as he should. He's thinking on offense. Then that's probably when I'll get into the whole, I don't know if this is going to happen, because it's going to take time, and you think about it like this. AJ is the one transfer who is being asked to do something different than he did at his previous stop, right? You look at Rylan, like his role is very much the same. Can you go out there and guard the other team's, maybe their best wing? And can you go out there and just catch and shoot the ball from 3? With someone like Zeke Mayo, it's, hey, can you be a combo guard? Can you go make threes? Right? That's stuff he did last year at South Dakota State, sorry. And so for AJ now, it's a question of, hey, we all know you can go score the basketball, but you're not going to be the leading scorer. And this isn't a team that's going to get you, 13, 14 shots a game. So you've got to find other ways to make an impact. And so for him, he's having to get rid of bad habits that he probably got at St. John's and at Wisconsin, and having to kind of correct those to where he can be an all-around player. And it's going to be better for him in the long term to be like that, right? And Bill Self has made the point, and it's a great one, right? You look at the NBA, there are 2 stars usually on a team. How many role players are there in the NBA? Hundreds. And so you got to be able to find a role and fit a role. And that's the big question for AJ. Can he go and do that? And so right now I'm of the opinion, I think it will happen over time. You can see that he's trying, right? This isn't a case where he's going out there not trying. Like, you can tell he's trying to be more active defensively. You can tell that he's trying to play within the offense, but being able to do that and do it all freely is what's going to be the challenge.
Do you think it's the right decision to redshirt Jamari McDowell this year?
Yeah, for sure. He's not going to play. Let's be real here, guys. You're looking at the lineup right now, and you still got to figure in Shaq Moore. And Shaq is going to play. He's good. So where are the minutes going to come from? And it'd be so silly for Jamari to burn a season of college eligibility. And let's be real here, guys. These guys are making money right now, and you are burning a season of earning potential on the back end of your career to play what? Spot minutes? Like, it's very smart. It's a smart choice for his basketball career, because he's going to have the chance to develop, and I think he will be someone that can play in a rotation by the time he graduates college, and he's also going to have the chance to make more money. And look, that's really important for these guys to maximize their earning potential, because as we've seen, there's no guarantee that you're going to go to the NBA, and there's no guarantee you're going to have a very long, basketball career playing. So that is really the big key. And so I think it's a great decision for Jamari this year, long term, and just for him, in his life.
We're joined by Michael Swain of Fog.net and 24/7 Sports here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. And another reason to look forward to past this year is another player, and that's Darren Peterson. He commits, obviously one of the top players in the class of 2025 it'll be. And what does he bring to this program? What will he bring to this program, and how will his recruitment also help them get other players for this recruiting cycle?
Yeah, and look, you look at the rankings, right? He's the best player Kansas. Well, it all depends on how he finishes, but he is not playing right now like he's a guy that's going to drop in the rankings. He's going to be KU's best prospect since Josh Jackson, and 3rd best all time behind Josh and Andrew Wiggins. Like, that's the type of talent we're talking here. And so he's a guy that next year is going to have the chance to make a huge impact at Kansas. Really interested to see how the roster will turn out next year, right? You don't really know, but look, for KU to get a player of this caliber, like, it is huge, because there is long-term impact here in terms of Kansas recruiting, right? If Darren Peterson comes in and has a fantastic year, say maybe AJ DeBonsta doesn't have a great year at BYU, he's going to go to BYU. So I'm not breaking any news there, I don't think. Maybe he doesn't have a great year. And there's a very real chance, Darren could be the number one pick in the draft. And that's a huge, huge recruiting tool. So it's a huge addition for Kansas, both just on the floor next year and also just for the program generally.
All right, we got about 30 seconds here, Michael. Get a quick football question in. KU and Iowa State this Saturday. What does a KU win look like in 30 seconds?
Yeah, look, Iowa State's really good in turnover margin. They force a lot of turnovers. They don't turn the ball over. Kansas has to play clean football from the start. They got to run the ball really well. This Iowa State defense is playing with some young linebackers. And defensively, look, they've got to do a really good job of stopping Higgins and Knoll. Like, those are their two best wide receivers. They really don't have a lot of depth at that position. And if you can stop those two guys, you're asking Rocco Beck to throw some tight ends, maybe running back out of the backfield, and really more dink and dunk than go and hit explosive plays. So KU's got a chance in this one. Like, they've had a chance in every game this year, and so they've just got to play clean football.
Michael Swain covers the Kansas Jayhawks for Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Subscribe today, be a VIP member. Follow Michael on Twitter at mswain247 and catch him Tuesdays for Jayhawk Weekly on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Michael, have a good one. We'll talk next week.
Awesome. Sounds great, guys. Talk to you later.
That is Michael Swain. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk next. Our thanks again to Michael Swain of Fog.net for joining us for Jayhawk Weekly here on 580 Sports Talk. Of course, tomorrow, Tim Fitzgerald will join us to give us the purple perspective for Wildcat Wrap-Up. Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com, also part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Did you know if you subscribe and are a VIP member of the 24/7 Sports Network, you can read both of those guys and get all of their insight?
Yeah,
Really?
sick.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that
It's
crazy?
a heck of a deal.
Wow. It's almost like I'm not a paid endorser of the product. I just use the product and it's good. So I recommend it to those of you out there who want to follow either program or really any major college program. They've got a 24/7 sports page. Coming up in the final hour today, 580 Sports Talk, we'll talk more about that KU opener from last night and preview K-State's opener tonight against New Orleans, the Privateers. Talk all about that. Plus, we got our 580 Sports Talk headlines and a little preview of tonight's college football playoff ranking. Surely the most contentious thing that will be on TV tonight. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Final hour of this Tuesday episode of 580 Sports Talk on this Election Day, November 5th, 2024. You have decided, you have voted with your radio dials or your internet browsers or your YouTube, Facebook viewing habits, and you have chosen us with 100% of precincts reporting. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, and Spencer Dupuis are your 580 Sports Talk hosts. We are glad you are with us on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And on our video stream, the YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. The Facebook page is WIBW News.
That was a pretty clever open.
Thank you. I improvised that. That was straight from the brain. I'm very proud of it.
Straight off the dome.
Straight off the. I don't write my stuff anymore. I just kick it from my head. You know what I'm talking about? I can do that. No disrespect. That's just how I am. In the final hour of 580 Sports Talk today, we're taking you up to college hoops. Kansas State men's basketball making their 2024-25 regular season debut tonight, taking on the New Orleans Privateers. Pregame coverage on the K-State Sports Network at 6 o'clock sharp, taking you to the kickoff or the tip-off. Crossover season. That'll happen a few more times. Tip-off at Bramlage Coliseum at 7 p.m. tonight. We'll have some thoughts on that game as well as KU's destruction of Howard last night at Allen Fieldhouse. Also, a look ahead to tonight and the college football playoff rankings. They are coming out tonight. It is a very funny bit that the first college football playoff rankings are coming out on election night. I mean, it's just coincidence, but it's also very funny.
It is very funny. Certainly the only voting anyone cares about today. Also, Maction's back tonight.
Yes.
Thank God.
When I talk about results I want to see out of the Midwest, I'm talking about Mid-America Conference football on a Tuesday night.
Correct. There's no doubt about that. When I talk about the... Hold on, I have to see the schedule so I can make a joke. Okay, there's no blue teams playing tonight. Yeah, okay, never mind. When I tell you about Ohio going red, it's because Ball State is playing Miami, folks.
That's good. That was well done.
Yeah, it took a while for ESPN to load.
Ball State, Miami, and Bowling Green, Central Michigan tonight.
God's conference.
It would be very funny if they set up like polling places at the stadiums. Like, hey, like if you're going to Bowling Green, Central Michigan, maybe you forgot to vote. Maybe you could
last hour
vote.
Like the last hour the polls are open.
Yeah, like
if you forgot, here you go. You can do it.
Yeah, you submit an absentee ballot at like gate 3.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
That would be if they had their demographic and they really needed them to vote. There's certain demographic of Ohio they really needed to vote. They would one party would try to set that up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I think all parties involved are a little interested in results out of Michigan tonight, and I don't mean the Chippewas and the Falcons, but that one kicks at 6:30 on ESPN2. Miami, Ohio, Ball State kicks at 7 on ESPN. Obviously, K-State will be on ESPN Plus tonight. I, for one, will welcome the distraction from what's going on the rest of television.
I am currently plusless. So by plusless, I mean ESPN plusless still.
Gotta jump on that.
Yeah, I gotta jump back on that.
Streaming's big dog. I bet you, I'm sure who said that? Who said that? It wasn't me. I didn't say that.
What is the plus running folks now these days?
I don't know. It's worth I still am an evangelist for the ESPN Plus product because you get a lot of sports.
Oh, yeah.
You don't, if you're a Big 12 fan, you don't miss a game. You get a lot of, the Olympic sports. You get a lot of really random stuff that can be fun to watch. You get the 30 for 30 library. You get, good writing on the website. You get Bill Barnwell stuff, Ben Solak stuff on the NFL. You get Bill Connolly on college football.
And the writing is honestly just as good of a value. This is not an ad. We're not being paid. I wish Disney would pay me.
No, I would love to be paid. I would love to be paid to endorse this.
I will say, though, my wife and I had dumped it because we had this big bundle. It was Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus. They don't offer that anymore, and we never used Disney Plus. I don't think we even set up a password
I thought they offered it.
Not anymore. Now it's just Disney and Hulu. ESPN is not part of it anymore.
That's tough.
At least they told us it wasn't going to be a thing, or they raised our price. It was something. Anyway, it was no longer a good deal, so we dropped it for a month, and now we got a yearly subscription for 20% off or something. So We will have that until next October. We will get rid of it again.
I am plusless because I needed a new cell phone. My battery was very bad. So there was a promo that my company rhymed with Verizon was running. And
never heard of them.
It was that you needed to change your plan. And if once you change your plan and trade in your phone to this new plan that they have, you would get the iPhone for free.
Sure.
So,
but you need a little extra cash to make it all work out.
Well, no. So I don't know. It said you had to upgrade your plan to this new plan that they had.
Okay.
Not 2 years ago plan that they rolled out 2 years ago.
It looks like you could still do the Disney bundle. It's just different. It's not the legacy bundle anymore.
Yeah,
it's more expensive, right?
Here's also the thing. I'm not a gigantic nerd, so I don't watch Marvel movies. So
hey, you know what Disney Plus does have?
The Simpsons.
Every episode of The Simpsons.
I'm obviously joking, but like I'm not into Marvel. I like Star Wars, but I watch the movies. I don't need 17 different Clone War movie. I
understand.
Can we just get like one, like, I know this is coming with sports and stuff, but can we just get like one package where I want to watch, I don't know, if I was an Office fan, I want to watch me some Peacock, right? But then I also, if I'm a Star Wars fan,
all-encompassing system that had all of the channels and all the shows you wanted to watch. They had that when I was a kid. It was called cable television.
Yes, but not on your fingertips. You can't just watch. There's no Simpsons channel.
If you get, they don't have a Simpsons one, but they do have all that free TV, the fast TV channels. That stuff rules.
Yeah,
the Mystery Science Theater channel gets a lot of run.
I haven't checked out the Big 12 Fast channel yet.
I haven't either.
I'm gonna have to do that.
I love that.
You need to and report back, right?
It is great background noise.
Yes,
seriously, like the ultimate form of background.
noise. You know what? Fast Channel rocks is the Pet Collective. I'm always putting on pictures of like videos of dogs doing funny stuff or like cute farm animals, and that's good like background stuff like for my son.
The NFL channel, the MLB channel, it's just old games
all the time.
Highlight
random
videos.
Old games.
Yeah, it's great.
Random old games like, ooh, here's a game where like Adam Dunn hit 2 home runs for the White Sox in 2006. It's like, why are you showing this game? Because. Because.
The Philip Umber perfect game.
Vance asking what we mean by fast channels. I don't remember. It's an acronym.
Yeah,
it's free.
Stands for free ad-supported television.
Yes.
If you've heard of
Pluto
TV,
Roku, like the Roku channel. Like if you have a Roku, they've got a bunch of those free ad-supported TV channels.
I have a Vizio smart TV. It's just built. They just have Vizio Watch Free. It's built into that. There's a few others as well that are the same kind of service. And yeah, it's great. There's a CBS Sports HQ, their online content. They just put on one of these channels. Like we said, the Big 12 network or the Big 12 just started one. Yeah, right now on the MLB Fast channel, Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter from 1991. May 1st, 1991. That's on right now.
It was against the Athletics. We're not allowed to call them the Oakland A's anymore. They are just the Athletics.
In fact, if you wanted, don't, because we're on the air right now, but right now on the NFL channel on Pluto TV, Vizio Watch Free, whatever, they are showing Super Bowl 54.
Hey,
I can click this right here. I have Pluto TV pulled up, and I'm going to watch the final moments of. I'm about to see Wasp. I bet that is just about to pop up.
They have time. Do they have time to run it?
I know they do. And yeah, it's free. I mean, you can access it anywhere. They just have ads you can't skip through.
By the way, Spencer, it's $12 a month for ESPN Plus, but you can do the basic Disney bundle for $17 a month. So that would be Hulu and Disney Plus for $5.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what's the best route to go,
No, I understand.
So that's why I'm plusless at the moment.
That's fine. You might not want to be plusless when like they put like meaningful games on the Big 12 on ESPN Plus.
I know it came up on the show yesterday, but I wonder what is the game for KU and K-State basketball that are going to end up on a streaming channel or on a ESPN Plus that makes everyone freak out? Each team is going to have at least one. Why is this not on real cable?
Yeah.
I can already hear the complaints.
For K-State, I'm going to say that it's I'm looking at, Houston. K-State Houston at Bramlage on a Saturday evening is on ESPN Plus.
For KU, it's probably hosting West Virginia. No, at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's supposed to be good. Yeah, at Cincinnati, January 11th is on the plus.
Man, K-State's got
flex those.
K-State's got 4 straight games on ESPN Plus late in the season. Arizona State at home, at UCF, Colorado at home, at Cincinnati, all ESPN Plus.
No,
games.
they almost never flex ESPN Plus.
I guess it's some conferences like Sun Belt, they have like a window where it's like, we'll decide what TV game we want of the 4 total we'll get on ESPNU or ESPN2. We'll decide that 3 weeks out.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And for a conference like that is a smaller package, I think that's how they
what
do
I was
it.
thinking of.
But yeah, with the Big 12, they just say, yep, ESPN Plus game.
Yeah. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're a K-State fan and you want to watch like any K-State men's basketball in January and February, you're going to want ESPN Plus. They got a lot.
That's odd. I think K-State's going to be good.
I think so too, but they got a ton of plus games. That's all I'm telling you. Don't shoot the messenger. But save your pennies and just pay the monthly fee in February and March if you want to watch K-State basketball. A lot of it's going to be on the plus. Anyway, we'll talk some more college hoops. But right now, let's get into our 580 Sports Talk headlines. And let's start with some college basketball. There were a billion games on last night. Couple of results that I felt were noteworthy to bring up. A big upset, the biggest upset of the night in college basketball, involved a Big 12 team. UCF at home knocks off number 13, Texas A&M. A good sign for the depth and quality of the Big 12 that UCF has that kind of ability to go out and take one from a top 15 SEC team in their first game at home.
I think UCF is probably going to be maybe not relative to the rest of the Big 12, probably a little bit better than they are nationally expected to be. I think A&M is overrated. I know Wade Taylor's a really good player. I think A&M is a little bit overrated. That being said, okay, let's say A&M should be 19th instead of 13th. That's still an awesome win for UCF. Credit to A&M for going and playing that game, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. But yeah, UCF, awesome for them. Ugly game, 64-61 final score.
The only other ranked team to lose to an unranked team last night, number 19, Texas. They lose at home to Ohio State.
They stink. Someday the college football world is going to stop going, Rodney Terry did it again. These dudes love playing for Rodney Terry. I'm sure, because he has absolutely no control. He's a substitute teacher.
They're not making it out of the first weekend, and Rodney Terry maybe not make it out of the year.
They're not going to be worth a damn.
Arthur Kaluma had a very Arthur Kaluma game for Texas in that.
I didn't even see his stats.
Just 10 points. 0 for 2 from 3.
Was it 10 points on 10 shots or something?
No, it was 10 points. I think most of it came early.
Oh wow! You mean the lights got bright and Arthur Kaluma turtled?
Also, number 8 Baylor in action late last night against number 6 Gonzaga. And if you were wondering if Scott Drew had convinced one of his teams to be able to guard like his old teams, not this one. They gave up 101 points to Gonzaga last night, lost by 38.
Yeah, that was one of those games where it's just an avalanche. Gonzaga was not missing at the end. They looked awesome. Grant Ike was really, really good was really, really good last night. VJ Edgecombe had a cool dunk.
VJ Edgecombe murdered Mark Few's son.
Yeah.
Killed him dead on the court. I think if I were Joe Few, I wouldn't speak to my dad for a couple of days.
Probably not. Why'd you make me do that?
Why did you put me in a situation where now I'm on a poster?
Baylor will probably be fine, but also Baylor
They'll be fine, but they haven't been able to guard anybody for 3 years.
Interesting
timeline. Wonder which assistant coach might have left the program around that time that they stopped being able to guard anybody.
And it works out for Baylor because now they recruit at a top level. I mean, they get VJ Edgecombe is a big deal recruit, and NBA prospect. But that probably says more about Gonzaga than Baylor. But I think it's just we should know now Baylor doesn't play defense.
So that's notable results from college basketball opening night. Our first 5A Sports Talk headline. Brendan, what's your first headline?
My first headline is that Dana Holgorsen rides again. He has been hired by the University of Nebraska. The Cornhuskers are bringing him on as an offensive analyst. Now, I did also see today that Matt Rule tried to bring him in during the offseason, but they couldn't come to terms. So he is going to join the team in an analyst capacity for the rest of the season. Dana Holgorsen, of course, was most recently the head coach at the University of Houston, where they could not wait to get rid of him. Prior to that, he was the head coach at West Virginia, where they could not wait to get rid of him.
You know what's really funny is that this news corresponds with the news that the casino in Lincoln, Nebraska has expanded their gaming space and added table games. That happened today.
Yeah.
Great news for Holgo.
Very, very funny. I saw Spencer Hall, longtime blogger, podcaster in the college football space, putting on Twitter today the funniest anecdote about Dana Holgorsen is that when he was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State, he lived in Tulsa and commuted to Stillwater.
Because the nightlife in Tulsa was better.
And listen,
he's right.
I have experienced and enjoyed the nightlife in Tulsa. It is a wild place. It's better than Stillwater.
Yes.
I know that.
Particularly if you are not of college age.
Yeah.
Yes. If you are an adult, it is certainly better than the Stillwater nightlife.
Yeah. Shout out to the Electric Circus. This is not going to fix a whole lot. I'm just going to tell you that right now. This ain't going to fix a whole lot.
Man, they were 5-2, and they might miss a bowl. They play USC on Saturday in the We Are in Hell Bowl, and the loser of that game is not maybe making a bowl game.
Yeah, so let's follow up on that. USC has benched its quarterback, Miller Moss, who probably isn't good enough to be to have the title of starting quarterback at USC. But that being said, he has also been completely hung out to dry by one of the worst offensive lines in the country.
They're going to go to Jaden Mayava, who was really good at UNLV last year.
Yes, who Lincoln Riley loves to do this. He loves to bring in a new transfer quarterback to pretend that there's competition and then not have a real competition. Except now Miller Moss got benched, and they've got to play Jaden Mayava. I was surprised he went to USC in the first place, to be honest, but I guess it worked out because he's going to start for him.
Next headline, Spencer.
Yes, can I wrap up 2 MLB headlines in a one?
Yeah, do it.
I'd be offended if you didn't, frankly.
The MLB Executive of the Year has been named, and we should all go to picket lines and protest this because JJ Picola doesn't win it. It's somehow Milwaukee's Matt Arnold that won it. It's absurd. You have a team that decided we're going to go for it. We're going to start doing things to act like a team that is ready to get going.
Mm-hmm.
They make moves at the deadline after they had an injury. Even then they make more moves at the later deadline where you can get people off waivers and trade whatever that way is after the deadline. To get to the playoffs, they win the wild card series.
Mm-hmm.
They get to the DS. They face a team that goes on to play in the World Series and lose, unfortunately. But they're a contending team. JJ Picola single-handedly brought this team spending-wise and trade-wise, and he should be.
They tried to win. In contrast, Matt Arnold, who actually won the award for the Milwaukee Brewers, do you know who their big addition was this offseason? It was Rhys Hoskins, who was below replacement level at first base for them. They traded away Corbin Burns in the spring. They were not trying to be good. They were fortunate that a lot of young players had breakout years and that they played in the worst division in baseball and won 93 games. And then they immediately got pantsed in the wild card series by the Mets.
I don't get the fascination around baseball with the Brewers.
I do. You want me to tell you what it is? Is that the Brewers are a model organization in the sense that they are competitive, but they also pinch pennies.
But why do broadcasters hype them up like that, though? If you watch a national Brewers game, and I'm not talking about one on TNT with Brian Anderson. I mean, he calls the team, calls the games for the team. I understand that. But if they're ever on Sunday Night Baseball, which is already a terrible broadcast, or they're on another national game, it's always oh man, the Brewers, what a gutsy group of guys. Just what a well put together team. I don't know, is it? They've never won jack.
They're
perennial chokers. They max out at the DS every year.
Pat Murphy is their manager, really well liked. Craig Counsell's manager before that, also a well liked guy. Yeah, they've been to the playoffs 6 of the last 7 years. They deserve credit for that.
Oh, sick! I bet they have a lot of trophies.
They have been to the championship series one time. And that was the beginning of that run, 2018. That is. It honestly feels like you'd rather reward the team that, they did the most while spending the least or trying the least hard financially and not rewarding a team that said, hey, we won 56 games last year. That sucked. Let's add some guys and let's make a real run at being good because we have a franchise shortstop and we have an ace. Let's maybe try to build a winning team around that. And then they do. And then they win around in the playoffs.
And there's also, if you wanted to counter that argument and say, all they did was spend money. Okay, well, A, that's a dumb counter argument, but B, there's just spending money, and then there's finding great players.
They also made trades too.
Well,
so.
yes, but in terms of finding those players, who thought Seth Lugo was going to be that good? All of America. I'm asking every single citizen, raise your hand. Anyone who puts your hand up is a damn liar, except maybe Mrs. Lugo at home. There is no chance. And you know what? Seth Lugo finished top 10 in Major League Baseball.
We were talking about him potentially being a Cy Younger.
Yeah.
Like, incredible. That's not just, oh, well, they got lucky. No, man, they found greatness. Michael, the Royals had 3 pitchers in the top 20 in Fangraphs wins above replacement for starters this year.
Crazy.
Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo are both top 10. Michael Wacha was 19.
Yeah, Piccolo made moves that made an impact at the deadline. The Brewers traded for 2 pitchers, a reliever, Nick Mears, who posted an ERA over 7, and a starting pitcher, Frankie Montas, who had an ERA of 4.5 and 11.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Matt Arnold winning that award is a farce. It's a joke.
Yes. The other bit of news is the Dodgers 10 minutes ago announced that Shohei Ohtani today underwent successful arthroscopic surgery performed in LA by Dr. Neil Elatrash to repair a labrum tear that resulted from his left shoulder dislocation on October 26th in that game in the playoffs. He is expected to be ready for spring training, though.
It was obvious he was not healthy in the World Series, which was a super bummer because, like, you want to see the best players at their best. And after he hurt himself in game 2, like, it took every ounce of his body just to get the bat through the strike zone. He couldn't do it. And hopefully this is just a minor setback for him. It's obviously not his pitching arm, which is a huge relief. I mean, imagine if it was. But it also kind of makes you wonder, how much longer are they going to let him do this if they think pitching is really valuable for him? Or the flip side, how much longer are they going to let him pitch? Like, how much longer are we in an era where he's going to get to be a two-way player? Because the Dodgers have invested a lot of money, and as he proved, just as an offensive player last year, even if he just hits, he's still worth every
Still
penny.
pretty great.
Yeah.
So I hope we still get to see the dual act next year and for many years to come, because we've never really seen anything like it in our lives, and we'll never see anything like it after he's done. But I think that incident kind of makes you wonder how much longer the Dodgers are going to be willing to ride with that. One more story worth getting to from the National Basketball Association. Philadelphia 76er center Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games after he shoved a columnist from the Philadelphia Inquirer in the locker room after Saturday's loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. The columnist in question, Marcus Hayes, had written a column questioning Embiid's work ethic and invoking Embiid's deceased brother and son in the column. Not real cool, honestly. Not a column that probably should have been written, a kind of crappy angle to take on the whole thing. And
real quick pause. No, that's not crap. That's garbage. That is, you can so easily argue he does not show up to work. I do not think that he is as great of a player as many people make him out to be. I think the load management stuff is crap, without saying essentially that he's a bad role model for his son who's named after his dead brother. This is garbage.
Yeah, it was bad. And Marcus Hayes is lucky he didn't get worse, frankly, from Joel Embiid. But there had to be consequences because you can't be shoving the media.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get physical with the media. You can't do it. You might want to. It might even, in some circles, be justified. But you can't do it. And Joel Embiid has been suspended for 3 games. So if they really wanted to punish him, they'd make him play.
I think, and I'm being, because I work in the media. I've been in locker rooms. I've interviewed athletes many times. I've written things about athletes. I've tweeted things that athletes have not liked before. I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Do not put your hands on guys. That being said, someone says that about my family, and I know I'm getting suspended anyway. That dude is going in the cripple crossface in front of everybody. You don't say that about my family.
No. It was.
If I'm Joel Embiid, I'm saying fine. Give me the 12-game suspension. I'm going to punch him.
Yeah, it was definitely out of pocket.
Awful.
And 3-game suspension. Embiid has to be deemed ready to play for the suspension to begin. He has not played this season due to ongoing issues with his left knee. That is the official word from the 76ers on that. That will do it for our 580 Sports Talk headlines. When we come back, Embiid's former school went to 1-0. They're the number 1 team in the country. We'll talk about some first impressions from the Jayhawks and what we're looking for as first impressions from the Wildcats tonight as college basketball season gets underway here on 580 Sports Talk. 534 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer.
You know, our bumper music doesn't play on YouTube.
No. So they just see us clapping along to this.
So, yeah, when...
We look very awkward.
So when Violent Femmes... Blister in the Sun is playing.
Blister in the Sun, yeah.
I was going to say Raised in the Sun. That's very different. That's a very different piece of media. It just looks like us randomly
Dream
clapping.
deferred like a raisin in the sun. Does it go on?
That's funny. Yeah, just random clapping. Now you know. If you watch on the YouTube or on the Facebook page, you know exactly.
That's what you would do. If you were watching on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk, you saw us clapping in unison. It was because Blister in the Sun by Violent Femmes was our bed music there. KU and K-State men's basketball. That's what we're talking about. KU won last night. They demolished Howard. They did cover the 26.5. Hope you listened to Brendan and I and didn't miss your blessing on that financially. We talked about this with Michael Swain of Fog.net in the 4 o'clock hour. Broadly speaking, I remember last year when you watched Kansas and you just felt like the bench minutes were something they had to survive. And it wasn't like they played a full bench 5 either. It wasn't like a full-scale line change. It was just any time that the starting lineup of Harris, Furphy, McCullough, Adams, and Dickinson wasn't on the floor together, you were just white-knuckling it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long it was that it had to be Parker Brown at center or Nick Timberlake at the 2 or anybody else handling the basketball.
What is below 0 on the confidence scale?
Like you were just white knuckling it every time the starters were not out on the floor together. I do not think that is going to be the case this year.
You know, looking back on last year, and I'm always willing to admit when I was wrong, I really do believe that last year's starting 5 for KU was good enough to make a real run fully healthy in the NCAA tournament.
I do too. I thought that team had a very high ceiling. They showed it at times last year.
Yeah, but then with the McCullough injury, I think Harris was just so beat down by the end of the year. Dickinson obviously had an awful matchup against Gonzaga at the end. Looking back, maybe I was a little too high on last year's roster. This one is a little bit different, though. Like, the difference between Nick Timberlake, who was a sharpshooter at Towson, never playing a single athlete the caliber of what you'll see in the Big 12, versus a guy like Zeke Mayo, who, is he the most athletic player on the floor? No. But at the very least, can he shoot the lights out? Like, if you give him a sliver of daylight, is he going to knock down a shot? Yeah. That's really, really important. Rylan Griffin didn't have a great game yesterday. AJ Storr didn't have a great game yesterday. Our guy Triple G on YouTube mentioned the same thing. Really promising to have a great offensive game without those two playing especially well, or at least the production not being there. You know, go as Bill Self. You have to make shots to play well, yada, yada. I'm sure we'll get to that come December, January, February. But without those two scoring a ton, and AJ Storr still clearly being a step behind the curve from the rest of the team and from what Bill Self is expecting out of him, to put up a performance like that, really, really impressive. This team is going to have better guard play this year, and that is a big deal. Hunter is awesome, and back from injury, had a bunch of points. That Hunter's going to be fine. He's a great player. I think having Flory Badunga, that's how it is in the media guide.
Yes, Badunga.
Having him backing up Hunter Dickinson is outrageous. And I know Michael told us earlier, Michael Swain, when he joined us for Jayhawk Weekly, told us, hey, look, I'm thinking 10 to 12 minutes a game from Flory, not upwards of 18 to 20 minutes a game. Even if that's the case, 10 to 12 minutes of an athlete like that spelling your tremendous starting old center and Hunter Dickinson, that is something most teams do not have.
No.
That is an incredible ace in the hole for KU. But as important as that is, guard play, guards who can create, guards who can shoot the damn ball, changes everything.
Guards
for
who
this
just
team.
don't look terrified if they're asked to do anything.
Yep. Guys are going to play with confidence. And Rylan Griffin is going to play confidently. And he should. He started for a Final Four team last year. And not a Cinderella. Alabama's been really good for years now. And he started for that team. Zeke Mayo is going to play confidently. I know he's moving up a level, but especially playing home games, he's going to be playing and shooting with confidence. I like him as a secondary ball handler. We don't even know what the guard rotation is going to look like yet, because we haven't seen Shaq Moore, who has been practicing, but his foot was bothering him yesterday, so they decided to hold him out. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him for another week or two. Just a guess on my part, just to make sure he's fully good to go. Also, David Coit, Diggy. I don't really know what to expect from him, to be honest, but at the very least, like, can you give 8 to 10 minutes kind of just microwave instant offense kind of
Yeah,
play.
he's going to play with energy and he's going to shoot confidently.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he's not going to play you out of games.
I'm fine with that.
You don't feel like he play you out of games.
Someone gets in
in
foul trouble. Can you play him a little bit more often? That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. You have to ask the question, are there enough basketballs to go around? There's only one ball, too many mouths to feed. We're talking about Bill Self here, guys. We're talking about one of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport. I think KU is going to be just fine. Now, again, it's Howard. I understand that. We'll probably know a lot more about this healthy group come Friday night.
Yes.
And certainly next Tuesday.
Fascinated to see what their rotations look like against North Carolina. Speaking of depth, Kansas State should have plenty of it as well.
Yep.
And they'll put it on display tonight against what should be a pretty overmatched New Orleans team. The interesting questions for me tonight are I'm going to be keeping up with the Joneses. Max Jones should play. Didn't play in the exhibition against Fort Hays State, but the coaches are very high on him. They brought him to Big 12 Media Days. We talked about that back when that happened. What is his role? What does his role look like? How much ball handling does he do? Is he a spot-up guy? Is he a slasher? What role does Max Jones play? What's his fit with the guys that he shares the floor with? And is C.J. Jones remaining the starter at point guard? And what do his minutes look like in relation to Doug McDaniel's minutes? Because, look, I think the ceiling's a lot higher for a guy, like, with all due respect to C.J. Jones, who had a nice career at UIC. Doug McDaniel was a good player in the Big Ten last year. And you would expect, given the pedigree, Doug McDaniel to be a better option at point guard. Jerome Tang is telling us right now he's not. So is that still the case? Has Doug McDaniel shaped up and straightened up and flown right in practice? What do the point guard minutes look like tonight? I wouldn't be surprised if C.J. Jones starts and you bring Doug off the bench for a little energy and maybe he plays more minutes. You can do that with a sixth man. Any coach will tell you the guys who finish games are more important than the guys who start games. But be curious as to what that looks like. That being said, I think a lot of guys are going to play tonight. UNO went 10-23 last year. They've got a new head coach. They only returned 3 guys. They got a bunch of transfers. One of their assistant coaches, here's a name to remember, Javon Felix, played at Texas.
Oh, man, Javon Felix. So in a game like this, I think you could argue, we want to see, let's try to get away with some things. Let's see what kind of creative things we can do. Kansas did that a little bit last night. Now, Kansas obviously outclassing Howard. We saw some lineups from KU that were war crimes. Like, there was a moment when Zach Clements, Hunter Dickinson, and KJ Adams were all on the floor at the same time. I don't ever want to see that ever again. I don't really want to see Zach Clements, period, but that's neither here nor there. I think you can argue you want to see that in a game like this where you clearly overpower your opponent. I actually am going the other way here. I want to see K-State lean directly into what it thinks its strengths are going to be and dominate. Like, I want to see... Don't worry about giving me goofy rotations. Don't worry about, let's see if we can mix and match these guys. No, bludgeon them. That's what I want to see from this Kansas State team. If you want to play up and down, fast, sprint out, shoot it, 6 seconds of madness basketball, do it. I want to see it against this team. Try that other stuff in some of the other cakewalk games you have. I want to see right off the rip, go and bludgeon these guys.
The thing about K-State last year was that the cakewalk games weren't cakewalk games. Remember Oral Roberts took him to overtime at Bramlage? Remember North Alabama?
Overtime games.
Remember North Alabama took him to overtime at Bramlage? Remember Chicago State played him within 7? Like, this is all non-conference games. Like, you can't play with your food. And so that's what I want to see. This should be a more experienced team, I think, for K-State. They should want to put the hammer down on a team like New Orleans and
set the tone, send the message.
Play 20 really good minutes, take a 20-plus point lead in the locker room. That should be within reach for K-State if they play particularly well tonight. So that game is coming up right here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Top of the hour, 6 o'clock pregame coverage from the K-State Sports Network. Tip-off from Bramlage at 7 o'clock. The Wildcats and the Privateers. We'll take a break.
That's a sick name, by the way.
Yeah,
it is.
Not near enough teams named the Privateers.
No,
right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Shout out
cool
to UNO.
Next up, college football playoff rankings come out tonight. What are we expecting? We'll tell you next on 580 Sports Talk. Getting close to closing out 580 Sports Talk for this Tuesday. You can check out anything you missed. You can watch the archive on YouTube when we're done, or you can just rewind. If you're watching us right now, you want to go back. Hey, they talked about the Chiefs in the first hour. You can go back and rewind, or you can catch hour-by-hour breakdowns of the show in podcast form on our website, 580wibw.com, and on Spotify. Search 580 Sports Talk on Spotify, and you can listen to the program on the app.
Add us and rate us 5
Add
stars.
us, rate us, review us, give us a good review, leave us a question in your review, and we'll answer it on the show.
Yeah, and I'll be really happy. And if you don't rate us, I'll be sad.
Yeah, you don't want Brendan to be sad.
Actually, it has to be 5 stars.
Yeah, do leave us a 5-star review, though. Yeah,
if you hate the show, please don't do that.
Come around and give us a 3-star review. Yeah, I only like 2 of you. The other one sucks. I'm not saying which one it is. It's just one of you I don't like. And then we all have to live with it. And that hurts all our feelings. Don't do that.
Yeah,
please
don't.
For our own sake.
I want to give a shout out to our guy Mark B in the YouTube comments that he's joining the show late. Just got back from voting.
Love it, Mark.
Heck yeah.
We all. I got my sticker.
I have one. It's not on me, but I have one. I did vote.
Mine fell off once. I don't know how it's sticking back on.
I voted this morning. There was no line at my my polling place. And
I did have a slight line. I was not happy about it.
I had a line too.
The people that I talked to, though, seemed to indicate to me that it was their first lull of the day.
Oh, okay.
So it had been pretty busy early in the morning at my polling place, is my understanding. But
yeah, I was there at 7:30. Funny enough, I ran into my girlfriend there.
How about that?
Like,
did you not know you were both going to vote?
Well, not until I got in the car and said, like, I'm heading to vote. As she was getting ready to head to work. Like, I thought she was voting after work. That's what she said. And she's like, I just want to get it done so I don't have to wait if there's long lines after work. And I was like, that makes sense.
You ever voted early, or are you always a day of guy?
I like to vote day of. Like I like to vote day of and turn in my ballot. But I did vote early in the 2020 election. I did go and I went to the polling place. It was like 3 days early. But I went and did it early.
No, there's something special to me about the day of.
Yeah, I like voting on election day. I do.
I did absentee in 2016 for my first one because I was in college.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was too far away, and then I went early in 2020.
I got to vote. I got to vote. My first presidential election I got to vote for was 2004, and I don't remember why either. Now, I think I voted early then. I grew up in Colorado, so I was registered there. I wasn't registered in Indiana where I was going to college. But I voted in. I voted in person, but I think I voted early then too. And Colorado's got a really good early vote, like vote by mail process. Honestly, every state should do what Colorado does. They're really good at it.
My wife was amazed when she moved to Kansas from Washington, where pretty much everyone votes by mail. She's like, yeah, I thought it was weird. Like, just put it in the mailbox. My first time I voted was in 2012. I was 18. I had just turned 18 that September ahead of the 2012 presidential election. And I remember I worked at our high school radio station, and I was leading our election coverage. We did all night long election coverage, and I was leading it. So I had about an hour and a half between the end of school and when we started at 5 o'clock. So I walked like 3/4 of a mile to the junior high where the voting place was, voted, walked back, and I was a very proud moment for me. I ran into my 6th grade science teacher while I was there, Mrs. Schroeder. Lovely, lovely person. And I said, oh, Mrs. Schroeder, hi. And my first time voting, she goes, oh, Brendan, that's so great. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. Her husband comes up. She says, oh, Joe, whatever. This is Brendan, a former student of mine. It's his first time voting. Dude gets right in my face and goes, well, it's a big one, so don't screw it up. Whoa! Dude! A, good thing I already voted. Otherwise, I think they'd be questioning you out in the hallway right now. B, dude, chill. Really took me aback.
Man, I wonder how that guy felt about like today's election.
Oh my God.
Just standing outside screaming at everybody one by one as they walk in.
Pacing, grumbling.
We love hearing the stories too in the YouTube live chat. Vance telling us big lines at his polling place this morning. Participatory democracy is good. The more people that vote, the merrier.
Yeah.
I got a text from some campaign. I've since deleted the whole text thread. They sent me their message this morning to say, make sure you vote for all the blanks also on this ballot this year. Vote for all this party, which is the party I'm technically registered in the state. And then they sent me a text like 2 hours ago and said, we made a mistake. This is your polling place. And I'm like, Well, I've already voted, and that is not my polling place. So I don't know what is going on here.
There's a big vote tonight as well. We're going to find out the first college football playoff rankings of the season. Sure looks like Oregon is going to be number one. How high is BYU? That's going to be the bellwether tonight for the Big 12 and how the league is perceived. How high is BYU?
Well, here's my question. Are they ranking it based on conference winners? Do the conference winners go 1, 2, 3, 4?
No.
Okay. 9.
Man, that would be really surprising because I think BYU, quite as kept, has a pretty good resume. They got good wins. Like they should be. I think there's an argument you could rank them. I think as high as 6.
I was gonna go 8.
I think there is not an anti-Big 12 bias, but I think the league is viewed differently than the other power leagues. I think that will suppress them.
No, I would agree with that completely. They'll be ranked ahead of Boise State, and that will matter for now. But I be watching where BYU ends up tonight because that will tell you how this committee views the Big 12 conference. We'll take a break. Come back with a final word next on 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this edition of 580 Sports Talk with a final word. Spencer Dupuis, make it quick.
Yes, I am going with Washburn women's basketball up to Minnesota, and I love exploring new places. I'm sitting on Google Maps earlier trying to figure out where to hit when I'm there, and there are a lot of good places to hit up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. If you have any, throw them in the comments right now.
All right, Brendan Rosinski, final word.
You've been to St. Cloud. Good win for KU last night. Great to see some different guys get in the action. If Zeke Mayo is coming off the bench and can shoot anything like that against really good competition this year, this KU team is going to be really, really good. Very excited for the North Carolina game coming up Friday night.
Final word for me is twofold. Number one, winners win, and the Kansas City Chiefs keep proving week after week they are winners. They find ways to win, and I thought they were pretty impressive all the way around last night, especially in the passing game. We saw what it's going to look like with DeAndre Hopkins fully integrated, with Travis Kelce finding his rhythm, with Patrick Mahomes dialing it up. It was his best game of the year. It was the Chiefs passing game's best game of the year as well. Very impressive win for the A&O Chiefs. Also, Todd Bowles has putting for brains. One last thing. It is election day today. We may not know who our next president is going to be by the time we hit the hay tonight. We may not know yet for a few days. But one thing I do know is this. We have a responsibility to each other to be good teammates, good neighbors, good people in the community, to treat each other how we want to be treated. And if we do those things, we're going to come through the next 4 years just fine, no matter who ends up winning the presidential election. So be good teammates, everybody. That's my advice to you on this day and every day. This is 580 Sports Talk. Talk to you tomorrow.